Welcome to the Path of Detachment, letting go to find your true self, a transformative exploration into the art of detachment and its profound impact on our journey towards inner peace and self-discovery. This audiobook, written by Mindful Literary, is a comprehensive guide that delves into the concept of detachment and how it can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Have you ever felt weighed down by attachments, whether they be emotional, material, or even spiritual? The Path of Detachment invites you to embark on a journey of self-reflection and empowerment, where you'll gain a deep understanding of what detachment truly means and how it differs from indifference. We'll explore the benefits of practicing detachment in our daily lives, offering practical strategies to cultivate detachment in various aspects of life. Throughout this audiobook, we'll navigate the process of letting go of emotional burdens, letting go of attachments that no longer serve us, and embracing the impermanence of life with grace and acceptance. By learning to release attachments and surrendering the illusion of control, we open ourselves to a greater sense of freedom, peace, and authenticity. Embracing impermanence is a central theme in this journey. We'll delve into the power of accepting change and living in the present moment, free from the constraints of expectations and rigid attachments. Through mindfulness practices and insightful teachings, you'll discover how detachment can lead you to your true self, unburdened by external influences and internal struggles. The Path of Detachment also explores the role of detachment in relationships, spirituality, and finding meaning in life's experiences. By maintaining healthy boundaries, surrendering control, and cultivating detachment in all aspects of our lives, we pave the way for profound personal growth and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world. Join us on this transformative path as we uncover the wisdom of letting go, finding our true selves, and embracing a life of serenity and purpose. Your journey towards inner peace and self-discovery begins now. Chapter 1: Understanding Detachment. What is detachment? Detachment is a concept that has been explored and practiced by various spiritual traditions and philosophies throughout history. It is often associated with the idea of letting go, releasing attachments, and finding inner peace. Detachment is not about disconnecting from the world or becoming indifferent to the experiences of life. Instead, it is a state of being that allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with a sense of equanimity and freedom. At its core, detachment is about cultivating a mindset of non-attachment. It is the ability to observe and experience life without clinging to outcomes, possessions, or relationships. Detachment is not about avoiding or denying emotions, but rather about developing a healthy relationship with them. It is about recognizing that everything in life is impermanent and that holding on to things or people can lead to suffering. Detachment is often misunderstood as a form of indifference or apathy. However, it is important to distinguish between detachment and indifference. While indifference implies a lack of care or concern, detachment is a state of being that allows us to engage fully with life while maintaining a sense of inner peace and freedom. Detachment is not about avoiding emotions or experiences, but rather about developing a healthy relationship with them. One of the key benefits of practicing detachment is the ability to let go of attachments. Attachments can take many forms, such as material possessions, relationships, or even our own identities and beliefs. These attachments can often create a sense of dependency and can lead to suffering when they are threatened or lost. By cultivating detachment, we can learn to release these attachments and find a greater sense of freedom and peace. Detachment also allows us to embrace the impermanence of life. Everything in the world is in a constant state of change, and clinging to things or people can prevent us from fully experiencing the present moment. By letting go of attachments and embracing impermanence, we can learn to live more fully in the present and find a deeper sense of joy and contentment. Cultivating detachment in daily life requires practice and awareness. It involves developing the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and attachments without judgment or attachment. This can be done through practices such as mindfulness meditation, self-reflection, and conscious awareness of our thoughts and actions. Detachment is not about becoming detached from the world or isolating ourselves from others. It is about finding a balance between engagement and non-attachment. It is about being fully present in the world while recognizing that our happiness and well-being do not depend on external circumstances or outcomes. In the following chapters, we will explore various aspects of detachment, including letting go of attachments, embracing impermanence, finding inner peace, detaching from ego, navigating relationships with detachment, and integrating detachment into daily life. By exploring these topics and practicing the principles of detachment, we can embark on a transformative journey towards greater freedom, peace, and fulfillment. The benefits of detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood as a negative or cold state of being, but in reality, it holds numerous benefits for our overall well-being and personal growth. When we detach ourselves from the outcomes, desires, and attachments that often consume our lives, we open ourselves up to a world of freedom, peace, and inner fulfillment. In this section, we will explore some of the key benefits of practicing detachment in our daily lives. Emotional freedom. One of the primary benefits of detachment is the liberation from the rollercoaster of emotions that often dictate our lives. When we become attached to specific outcomes or cling to certain expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment, frustration, and even suffering. By practicing detachment, we learn to let go of these emotional attachments and find a sense of peace and contentment within ourselves. We become less reactive to external circumstances and more in control of our own emotional state. Reduce stress and anxiety. Detachment allows us to release the burden of excessive worry and anxiety. When we detach ourselves from the need to control every aspect of our lives, we free ourselves from the constant stress and pressure that comes with it. We learn to accept that there are certain things beyond our control and focus our energy on what we can influence. This shift in perspective leads to a significant reduction in stress levels and allows us to approach life with a greater sense of calm and tranquility. Increased resilience. Detachment strengthens our ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. When we are not overly attached to specific outcomes, we become more adaptable and flexible in the face of adversity. We learn to embrace change and view obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. Detachment helps us develop a resilient mindset, enabling us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and ease. Enhance self-awareness. Practicing detachment encourages self-reflection and introspection. When we detach ourselves from external influences and distractions, we create space for self-awareness and self-discovery. We gain a deeper understanding of our own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This heightened self-awareness allows us to make conscious choices and align our actions with our true values and aspirations. Improved relationships. Detachment plays a crucial role in fostering healthy and fulfilling relationships. When we detach ourselves from expectations and attachments in our interactions with others, we create space for genuine connection and understanding. We learn to appreciate people for who they are, rather than trying to mold them into our own expectations. Detachment allows us to cultivate empathy, compassion, and acceptance, leading to more harmonious and meaningful relationships. Freedom from materialism. In a world driven by consumerism and material possessions, detachment offers us liberation from the constant pursuit of external validation and happiness. When we detach ourselves from the attachment to material possessions, we free ourselves from the never-ending cycle of acquiring and accumulating. We learn to find contentment and fulfillment within ourselves, rather than relying on external objects for our sense of worth and happiness. Greater clarity and focus. Detachment allows us to cut through the noise and distractions of daily life and gain clarity of mind. When we detach ourselves from the constant stream of thoughts and desires, we create space for mental clarity and focus. We become more present in the moment and better able to concentrate on the tasks at hand. Detachment enhances our ability to make clear decisions and take purposeful action. Spiritual growth. Detachment is deeply intertwined with spiritual growth and enlightenment. When we detach ourselves from the ego-driven desires and attachments, we open ourselves up to a higher level of consciousness and connection with the divine. Detachment allows us to transcend the limitations of the self and experience a sense of oneness with the universe. It deepens our spiritual practice and brings us closer to our true nature. In conclusion, the benefits of detachment are vast and profound. By practicing detachment, we can experience emotional freedom, reduce stress and anxiety, increased resilience, enhanced self-awareness, improved relationships, freedom from materialism, greater clarity and focus, and spiritual growth. Detachment is not about indifference or apathy, it is about finding inner peace, freedom, and fulfillment in every aspect of our lives. Detachment versus indifference. Detachment and indifference are two concepts that are often misunderstood and confused with each other. While they may appear similar on the surface, there are significant differences between the two. In this section, we will explore the distinctions between detachment and indifference and understand why cultivating detachment is a more beneficial approach in life. Understanding detachment. Detachment is a state of being where one is able to let go of attachments, desires, and expectations. It is a conscious choice to release the need for control and to accept things as they are. Detachment does not mean disconnecting from life or becoming apathetic. Rather, it is about finding inner peace and freedom by not being overly attached to outcomes or external circumstances. When we practice detachment, we are able to observe our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without getting entangled in them. We become observers of our own lives, allowing things to unfold naturally and accepting the impermanence of all things. Detachment allows us to respond to situations with clarity and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively based on our attachments and desires. The pitfall of indifference. Indifference, on the other hand, is a state of apathy or lack of concern. It is a disinterest or disregard for the well-being of oneself and others. Indifference is often driven by a sense of detachment from emotions and a refusal to engage with the world. While detachment promotes inner peace and freedom, indifference can lead to isolation and a lack of empathy. Indifference is characterized by a lack of emotional investment and a refusal to take responsibility for one's actions and their impact on others. It is a state of emotional numbness, where one becomes disconnected from their own feelings and the feelings of others. Indifference can manifest as a defense mechanism to protect oneself from pain or as a result of a deep sense of disillusionment with the world. The importance of emotional engagement. Detachment, unlike indifference, does not mean suppressing or denying emotions. In fact, detachment encourages emotional awareness and engagement. It allows us to fully experience and acknowledge our emotions without being overwhelmed or controlled by them. Detachment teaches us to observe our emotions from a place of non-judgment and to respond to them with compassion and understanding. Indifference, on the other hand, involves a disconnection from emotions. It is a refusal to acknowledge and engage with one's own feelings and the feelings of others. Indifference can lead to a lack of empathy and a disregard for the well-being of oneself and others. It hinders personal growth and prevents meaningful connections from forming. Cultivating detachment with compassion. Detachment is a practice that requires self-awareness, mindfulness, and compassion. It is about finding a balance between being engaged in the world and maintaining inner peace. Detachment allows us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience, while indifference creates a barrier between ourselves and the world. By cultivating detachment, we can develop a deep sense of compassion for ourselves and others. We can let go of the need to control and manipulate outcomes, and instead, trust in the natural flow of life. Detachment allows us to embrace impermanence and find peace in the present moment. In conclusion, detachment and indifference are two distinct states of being. Detachment promotes inner peace, freedom, and emotional engagement, while indifference leads to apathy, disconnection, and a lack of empathy. By cultivating detachment with compassion, we can navigate life's ups and downs with grace and find true fulfillment in the present moment. Cultivating detachment in daily life. Detachment is not just a concept to be understood intellectually, It is a way of life that requires consistent practice and cultivation. In this section, we will explore practical ways to incorporate detachment into our daily lives, allowing us to experience greater peace, freedom, and clarity. Letting go of control. One of the key aspects of cultivating detachment is learning to let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. Often, we hold on to the illusion that we have control over external circumstances, other people, and even our own thoughts and emotions. However, the truth is that much of what happens in life is beyond our control. By recognizing and accepting this truth, we can begin to release our attachment to outcomes and surrender to the flow of life. This doesn't mean that we become passive or indifferent. Rather, it means that we approach life with an open mind and a willingness to adapt to whatever arises. Practicing non-attachment. In our daily lives, we can practice non-attachment by observing our thoughts, emotions, and reactions without getting caught up in them. This requires developing a sense of detachment from our own inner experiences. Instead of identifying ourselves with our thoughts and emotions, we can learn to observe them as passing phenomena. For example, when faced with a challenging situation or a difficult emotion, instead of getting swept away by it, we can take a step back and observe it with curiosity and compassion. By doing so, we create space between ourselves and our experiences, allowing us to respond rather than react. Letting go of expectations. Expectations can be a major source of suffering and attachment. We often have expectations about how things should be, how people should behave, and how events should unfold. When reality doesn't align with our expectations, we can feel disappointed, frustrated, or even angry. Cultivating detachment in daily life involves letting go of these expectations and embracing the present moment as it is. This doesn't mean that we abandon our goals or stop striving for improvement. Rather, it means that we release our attachment to specific outcomes and remain open to the possibilities that life presents. Embracing impermanence. Impermanence is a fundamental aspect of life. Everything is in a constant state of change, and nothing remains the same. Cultivating detachment involves embracing this impermanence and letting go of our attachment to the idea of permanence and stability. In our daily lives, we can practice embracing impermanence by being fully present in each moment and appreciating the beauty and uniqueness of each experience. We can also remind ourselves that everything is temporary and that clinging to things or people will only lead to suffering. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can help us cultivate detachment in daily life. When we cultivate a sense of gratitude, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is present. We appreciate the simple joys and blessings that surround us, rather than constantly striving for more. By practicing gratitude, we develop a deeper sense of contentment and fulfillment, which allows us to detach from the constant desire for more. We learn to appreciate what we have and let go of the need for external validation or material possessions to define our happiness. Mindful awareness. Mindfulness is a practice that can greatly support the cultivation of detachment in daily life. By bringing our attention to the present moment and observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment, we develop a greater sense of clarity and detachment. In our daily activities, we can practice mindful awareness by bringing our full attention to each task at hand. Whether it's washing the dishes, walking in nature, or having a conversation, we can engage fully in the present moment, letting go of distractions and preoccupations. Self-reflection and self-inquiry. Self-reflection and self-inquiry are powerful tools for cultivating detachment. By regularly taking time to reflect on our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, we can gain insight into the ways in which attachment and clinging manifest in our lives. Through self-inquiry, we can question our assumptions, challenge our attachments, and explore the deeper motivations behind our desires and fears. This process of self-inquiry allows us to develop a greater understanding of ourselves and cultivate a sense of detachment from the ego-driven patterns that limit our growth and happiness. Compassionate action. Detachment does not mean withdrawing from the world or becoming indifferent to the suffering of others. On the contrary, cultivating detachment allows us to engage in the world with greater compassion and empathy. By letting go of our attachment to outcomes and expectations, we can respond to the needs of others with an open heart and a clear mind. We can offer support, kindness, and understanding without getting entangled in the drama or becoming overwhelmed by the suffering around us. In conclusion, cultivating detachment in daily life is a transformative journey that requires consistent practice and self-reflection. By letting go of control, practicing non-attachment, embracing impermanence, cultivating gratitude, and engaging in mindful awareness and compassionate action, we can experience greater peace, freedom, and fulfillment in our lives. Chapter 2: Letting Go of Attachments. Identifying attachments. Attachments are the invisible threads that bind us to people, things, and ideas. They are the emotional and psychological bonds that we form with the external world, often without even realizing it. These attachments can be both positive and negative, and they play a significant role in shaping our thoughts, actions, and overall well-being. In order to cultivate detachment, it is essential to first identify and understand our attachments. This process requires self-reflection and introspection, as well as a willingness to explore the depths of our own emotions and desires. By becoming aware of our attachments, we can begin to unravel the hold they have on us and ultimately free ourselves from their grip. The nature of attachments. Attachments can manifest in various forms and can be deeply ingrained within us. They can be attachments to people, such as family members, friends, or romantic partners. They can also be attachments to material possessions, such as money, possessions, or status. Additionally, attachments can extend to ideas, beliefs, and even our own self-image. Attachments often arise from our desires and expectations. We become attached to people because we desire their love, attention, or approval. We become attached to material possessions because we believe they will bring us happiness or security. We become attached to ideas and beliefs because we identify with them and find comfort in their familiarity. The impact of attachments. Attachments can have a profound impact on our lives. They can create a sense of dependency, as we rely on external factors for our happiness and fulfillment. When our attachments are threatened or lost, we may experience feelings of fear, anxiety, and sadness. Our attachments can also lead to a constant striving for more, as we seek to fulfill our desires and maintain a sense of security. Attachments can also cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing things as they truly are. When we are attached, our perception becomes biased, and we may cling to beliefs or ideas that no longer serve us. This can hinder personal growth and prevent us from embracing new experiences and perspectives. Recognizing attachments. Recognizing attachments requires a deep level of self-awareness and honesty. It involves examining our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to identify patterns and underlying motivations. Here are some questions to help you recognize your attachments. What or who do I feel a strong emotional connection to? What am I afraid of losing? What do I constantly think about or obsess over? What beliefs or ideas do I strongly identify with? What possessions do I feel a strong attachment to? By honestly answering these questions, you can begin to uncover the attachments that may be holding you back from true detachment. Letting go of attachments. Once you have identified your attachments, the next step is to let go of them. This process can be challenging and may require time, patience, and self-compassion. Here are some strategies to help you let go of attachments. Practice mindfulness. By being present in the moment and observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you can develop a greater sense of awareness and detachment. Cultivate gratitude. Focus on appreciating what you have in the present moment rather than constantly striving for more. This can help shift your perspective and reduce attachment to material possessions. Challenge your beliefs. Examine the beliefs and ideas that you strongly identify with and question their validity. Are they serving you or holding you back? Practice non-attachment. engage in activities or experiences that allow you to detach from your usual attachments. This could include meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in creative pursuits. Seek support. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are also on the path of detachment. Share your experiences and learn from each other's journeys. Remember, letting go of attachments is a gradual process. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a commitment to personal growth. As you continue on the path of detachment, you will find that the freedom and inner peace that come with letting go far outweigh the temporary comfort of attachment. The illusion of control. In our journey towards detachment, one of the most important aspects to understand is the illusion of control. As human beings, we have a natural tendency to want to control our lives and the world around us. We believe that by exerting control, we can ensure our happiness and security. However, this belief is nothing more than an illusion. Letting go of the need for control. The need for control stems from our fear of the unknown and our desire for certainty. We want to be able to predict and manipulate outcomes to align with our desires. However, life is inherently unpredictable and constantly changing. Trying to control every aspect of our lives is not only exhausting but also futile. When we cling to the illusion of control, we become attached to specific outcomes and expectations. We set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration when things don't go according to plan. By letting go of the need for control, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to manipulate every situation. Embracing uncertainty. Detachment requires us to embrace uncertainty and surrender to the flow of life. Instead of trying to control every outcome, we learn to trust in the natural order of things. We understand that there are forces at play beyond our comprehension and that we are just a small part of a much larger universe. Embracing uncertainty allows us to be more adaptable and resilient in the face of challenges. We become open to new possibilities and opportunities that we may have otherwise overlooked. By releasing our grip on control, we create space for growth and transformation. Accepting the uncontrollable. There are many aspects of life that are simply beyond our control. We cannot control the actions and choices of others, the weather, or the passage of time. Trying to control these external factors only leads to frustration and disappointment. Instead of resisting the uncontrollable, we learn to accept it. We recognize that there are certain things that are simply out of our hands. This acceptance allows us to focus our energy on the things that we can control, such as our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Finding freedom in surrender. Surrendering control does not mean giving up or being passive. It is about finding freedom in letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. When we surrender, we release the burden of trying to force outcomes and instead allow life to unfold naturally. In surrender, we find peace and serenity. We no longer feel the need to constantly fight against the current of life. We trust that everything is happening for a reason and that we are being guided towards our highest good. Cultivating trust and faith. Letting go of control requires us to cultivate trust and faith in ourselves and in the universe. We trust that we have the inner resources and resilience to navigate whatever comes our way. We have faith that the universe is always working in our favor, even if we can't see it in the moment. Cultivating trust and faith allows us to surrender control with grace and ease. We no longer feel the need to micromanage every aspect of our lives. Instead, we surrender to the wisdom of the universe and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. Embracing the present moment. When we let go of the illusion of control, we are able to fully embrace the present moment. We no longer live in a constant state of anticipation or worry about the future. Instead, we are fully present and engaged in the here and now. Embracing the present moment allows us to experience life more fully. We are able to appreciate the beauty and wonder that surrounds us. We are able to connect more deeply with ourselves and with others. By releasing the need for control, we open ourselves up to the richness of life in all its forms. In conclusion, the illusion of control is a barrier to detachment. By letting go of the need for control, embracing uncertainty, accepting the uncontrollable, finding freedom in surrender, cultivating trust and faith, and embracing the present moment, we can begin to release our attachments and experience true detachment. Releasing emotional attachments. Emotional attachments can be some of the most challenging attachments to let go of. These attachments can range from relationships and friendships to past experiences and memories. Releasing emotional attachments is a crucial step in the path of detachment, as it allows us to free ourselves from the grip of the past and live more fully in the present moment. Understanding emotional attachments. Emotional attachments are formed when we develop strong feelings or connections to people, places, or experiences. These attachments can be positive or negative, and they often stem from our desires, expectations, and fears. When we become emotionally attached, we invest a significant amount of our energy and focus into these attachments, which can lead to suffering and a lack of inner peace. The consequences of emotional attachments. While emotional attachments can bring us joy and fulfillment, they can also cause us pain and suffering. When we become attached to someone or something, we often develop expectations and cling to a specific outcome. This attachment to a desired outcome can lead to disappointment, frustration, and even resentment when things don't go as planned. Emotional attachments can also prevent us from fully experiencing the present moment. When we are attached to the past or worried about the future, we miss out on the beauty and opportunities that exist in the here and now. Additionally, emotional attachments can cloud our judgment and prevent us from making clear and rational decisions. The process of releasing emotional attachments. Releasing emotional attachments requires a conscious effort and a willingness to let go. Here are some steps to help you release emotional attachments and cultivate a sense of detachment. Awareness. The first step in releasing emotional attachments is to become aware of them. Take some time to reflect on the attachments you have formed and how they are affecting your life. Notice any patterns or recurring themes in your attachments. This awareness will help you understand the root causes of your attachments and the impact they have on your well-being. Acceptance. Once you are aware of your emotional attachments, it is essential to accept them without judgment. Acceptance does not mean condoning or approving of the attachment, it simply means acknowledging its presence and the emotions associated with it. By accepting your attachments, you create space for healing and transformation. Letting go. Letting go is the next step in releasing emotional attachments. This process involves consciously releasing the grip of attachment and allowing things to unfold naturally. It requires surrendering control and trusting in the flow of life. Letting go does not mean giving up or becoming indifferent, it means releasing the need for a specific outcome and embracing the present moment as it is. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a powerful tool in releasing emotional attachments. By forgiving yourself and others, you release the emotional baggage associated with past experiences. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or condoning harmful actions, it means freeing yourself from the burden of resentment and anger. Through forgiveness, you create space for healing and growth. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is a transformative practice that can help release emotional attachments. By focusing on what you are grateful for in the present moment, you shift your attention away from attachments and towards appreciation. Cultivating gratitude allows you to find joy and contentment in the here and now, rather than seeking fulfillment in external circumstances. The benefits of releasing emotional attachments. Releasing emotional attachments brings numerous benefits to our lives. When we let go of attachments, we experience a sense of freedom and inner peace. We become less dependent on external circumstances for our happiness and find contentment within ourselves. Releasing emotional attachments also allows us to cultivate healthier relationships, as we are no longer burdened by expectations and attachments. By releasing emotional attachments, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and opportunities. We become more adaptable and resilient in the face of change, as we are not tied down by attachments to the past or fears of the future. Releasing emotional attachments also enables us to live more authentically, as we are no longer defined by our attachments, but by our true selves. In conclusion, releasing emotional attachments is a vital step in the path of detachment. It requires awareness, acceptance, and a willingness to let go. By releasing emotional attachments, we free ourselves from suffering, cultivate inner peace, and live more fully in the present moment. Detaching from material possessions. In our modern society, we are often bombarded with messages that equate material possessions with success and happiness. We are constantly encouraged to acquire more, to upgrade our belongings, and to keep up with the latest trends. However, the path of detachment teaches us that true happiness and fulfillment do not come from external possessions, but from within ourselves. The illusion of material possessions. Material possessions can be a source of comfort and convenience in our lives, but they can also become a burden. The more we accumulate, the more we become attached to these possessions, and the more they start to define our identity and worth. We begin to believe that our happiness and self-worth are dependent on the things we own, leading us into a never-ending cycle of desire and acquisition. However, the truth is that material possessions are impermanent. They can be lost, stolen, or destroyed. They can also lose their appeal over time as new and improved versions are introduced into the market. By attaching our happiness and sense of self to these temporary and ever-changing objects, we set ourselves up for disappointment and dissatisfaction. The freedom of detachment. Detaching from material possessions does not mean that we have to give up everything we own and live a life of minimalism. It means recognizing that our happiness and self-worth are not dependent on the things we possess. It means finding freedom in letting go of the attachment and the need to constantly acquire more. When we detach from material possessions, we free ourselves from the burden of constantly seeking external validation and happiness. We no longer measure our worth by the size of our house, the brand of our car, or the labels on our clothes. Instead, we find contentment and fulfillment in the present moment, in the relationships we cultivate, and in the experiences we have. Cultivating detachment from material possessions. Cultivating detachment from material possessions is a gradual process that requires self-awareness and conscious effort. Here are some practices that can help us on this path. Gratitude and appreciation. One way to detach from material possessions is to cultivate gratitude and appreciation for what we already have. Take a moment each day to reflect on the things you own and express gratitude for them. Recognize the value they bring to your life and the joy they have provided. By shifting our focus to gratitude, we begin to see the abundance in our lives and realize that we already have enough. Mindful consumption. Another practice that can help us detach from material possessions is mindful consumption. Before making a purchase, pause and ask yourself if you truly need the item or if it is just a desire driven by external influences. Consider the impact of the purchase on your life, the environment, and your overall well-being. By practicing mindful consumption, we can avoid unnecessary accumulation and make choices that align with our values and priorities. Letting go. Detaching from material possessions also involves letting go of the things that no longer serve us. Take time to declutter your living space and let go of items that are no longer useful or bring you joy. Donate or sell these items, knowing that they may bring value and happiness to someone else's life. By letting go of the excess, we create space for new experiences and opportunities to enter our lives. Focus on experiences. Instead of focusing on acquiring more things, shift your focus to experiences. Invest your time, energy, and resources in activities that bring you joy, fulfillment, and personal growth. Engage in hobbies, spend time with loved ones, explore nature, and pursue your passions. By prioritizing experiences over possessions, we cultivate a sense of richness and fulfillment that cannot be found in material objects. The liberating path of detachment. Detaching from material possessions is not about denying ourselves the things we need or enjoy. It is about recognizing that our happiness and self-worth are not dependent on external objects. It is about finding freedom in letting go of the attachment and the constant need for more. By embracing the path of detachment, we free ourselves from the burden of materialism and find contentment in the present moment. We discover that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, from nurturing our relationships, pursuing our passions, and living in alignment with our values. Detachment from material possessions allows us to live a more authentic, meaningful, and liberated life. Chapter 3: Embracing Impermanence. Understanding impermanence. In our journey towards detachment, it is essential to develop a deep understanding of impermanence. Impermanence is the fundamental nature of existence, the constant flux and change that permeates every aspect of our lives. It is the understanding that nothing in this world is permanent or fixed, and that everything is subject to change. The nature of impermanence. Impermanence is a universal truth that applies to all phenomena, whether they are physical, emotional, or mental. It is the nature of life itself, and accepting this truth is crucial for cultivating detachment. Everything we encounter, from relationships to material possessions, is impermanent and will eventually change or cease to exist. Impermanence and change. Change is an inherent part of impermanence. Nothing remains the same forever, everything is in a constant state of flux. Understanding this can help us let go of attachments and expectations, as we realize that clinging to something or someone is futile. Change is inevitable, and by embracing it, we can find freedom and peace. The illusion of permanence. Often, we fall into the trap of believing that certain things or situations will last forever. We attach ourselves to these illusions of permanence, seeking security and stability. However, this attachment only leads to suffering when those things inevitably change or disappear. By recognizing the illusion of permanence, we can release our attachments and find liberation. Impermanence and the present moment. Impermanence teaches us the importance of living in the present moment. When we are fully present and aware, we can appreciate the beauty and richness of each experience without clinging to it. We understand that this moment is fleeting and will never come again, so we savor it fully. By embracing impermanence, we learn to let go of regrets about the past and worries about the future, allowing us to fully immerse ourselves in the present. Impermanence and letting go. Impermanence invites us to let go of attachments and expectations. When we cling to something or someone, we create suffering for ourselves. By understanding that everything is impermanent, we can release our grip and find freedom. Letting go does not mean we stop caring or become indifferent, it means we detach ourselves from the outcome and accept whatever arises with equanimity. Impermanence and detachment. Detachment is closely intertwined with impermanence. When we detach ourselves from the idea of permanence, we can embrace the ever-changing nature of life. Detachment does not mean we become cold or disconnected, it means we cultivate a sense of inner peace and freedom by letting go of our attachments. By understanding impermanence, we can navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. Embracing impermanence in daily life. To embrace impermanence in our daily lives, we can practice mindfulness and awareness. By being fully present in each moment, we can observe the impermanence of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations. We can also reflect on the impermanence of our relationships, possessions, and circumstances, reminding ourselves that nothing is permanent. Cultivating gratitude. Understanding impermanence can also cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. When we recognize that everything is impermanent, we learn to appreciate the present moment and the people and experiences in our lives. We become grateful for the fleeting beauty and joy that each moment brings, knowing that it will not last forever. Embracing impermanence as a path to freedom. Embracing impermanence is not always easy, as it requires us to let go of our attachments and expectations. However, by doing so, we open ourselves up to a greater sense of freedom and peace. We learn to flow with the ever-changing currents of life rather than resisting or clinging to them. Embracing impermanence allows us to live more fully, with a lightness of being and a deep appreciation for the preciousness of each moment. In the next section, we will explore the practice of accepting change and how it can further enhance our journey towards detachment. Accepting change. Change is an inevitable part of life. It is the one constant that we can always rely on. Yet, many of us struggle to accept and embrace change. We cling to what is familiar and resist the unknown. However, by cultivating the practice of detachment, we can learn to accept change with grace and ease. The nature of change. Change is a fundamental aspect of the human experience. From the moment we are born, we are constantly growing, evolving, and adapting to the world around us. Our bodies change, our relationships change, our circumstances change. Change is the natural order of things. However, despite its inevitability, change can be challenging to accept. We often find ourselves clinging to what is comfortable and familiar, even if it no longer serves us. We resist the unknown and fear the uncertainty that change brings. But by embracing the path of detachment, we can learn to navigate change with a sense of peace and acceptance. Letting go of resistance. One of the key principles of detachment is letting go of resistance. When we resist change, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. We hold on tightly to what was, refusing to let go and move forward. But by releasing our resistance, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and opportunities. Accepting change does not mean that we have to like or agree with every aspect of it. It simply means that we acknowledge and embrace the reality of the situation. We let go of our attachment to how things were and instead focus on how we can adapt and grow in the face of change. Embracing the unknown. Change often brings with it a sense of uncertainty. We may not know what the future holds or how things will unfold. This can be unsettling and uncomfortable. However, by practicing detachment, we can learn to embrace the unknown with curiosity and openness. Rather than fearing the unknown, we can view it as an opportunity for growth and expansion. We can approach change with a sense of adventure, knowing that it is through embracing the unknown that we discover new aspects of ourselves and the world around us. Finding strength in change. Change can be a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. It challenges us to step outside of our comfort zones and confront our fears. By accepting change, we tap into our inner strength and resilience. When we detach from the need to control and resist change, we become more adaptable and flexible. We learn to flow with the currents of life rather than fighting against them. This allows us to navigate change with greater ease and grace. Embracing impermanence. Change is a reminder of the impermanence of all things. Nothing in life is permanent, and everything is in a constant state of flux. By accepting change, we come to understand and appreciate the transient nature of our experiences. When we detach from the need for things to stay the same, we can fully embrace the present moment. We learn to savor the beauty and joy of each experience, knowing that it is fleeting. This deepens our appreciation for life and allows us to live more fully in the present. Cultivating resilience. Change can be challenging, and it often brings with it a range of emotions. We may experience fear, sadness, or even anger. However, by practicing detachment, we can cultivate resilience in the face of change. Detachment does not mean that we become numb or indifferent to our emotions. Rather, it allows us to observe and acknowledge our emotions without becoming consumed by them. We learn to ride the waves of change, knowing that they will eventually pass. Embracing change as an opportunity for growth. Change is not something to be feared or avoided. It is an opportunity for growth and transformation. By accepting change and embracing the unknown, we open ourselves up to new experiences and possibilities. When we detach from the need for things to stay the same, we create space for new opportunities to enter our lives. We become more open-minded and adaptable, allowing us to navigate the ever-changing landscape of life with greater ease. Conclusion. Accepting change is a fundamental aspect of the path of detachment. By letting go of resistance, embracing the unknown, and finding strength in change, we can navigate the ever-changing landscape of life with grace and ease. Change becomes an opportunity for growth and transformation rather than something to be feared or avoided. By cultivating the practice of detachment, we can learn to accept change with open hearts and open minds. Finding freedom in impermanence. In the journey of detachment, one of the fundamental principles to embrace is the concept of impermanence. Impermanence refers to the ever-changing nature of life and the realization that nothing in this world is permanent. It is the understanding that everything we experience, whether it be joy or sorrow, success or failure, will eventually pass away. Embracing the nature of impermanence. To find freedom in impermanence, we must first acknowledge and accept the transient nature of all things. This acceptance allows us to let go of our attachments and expectations, freeing ourselves from the suffering that arises when we resist change. By recognizing that everything is subject to change, we can cultivate a sense of detachment and find peace in the midst of life's ups and downs. The illusion of permanence. Many of us cling to the illusion of permanence, seeking security and stability in a world that is inherently unstable. We hold on to relationships, possessions, and even our own identities, believing that they define us and provide us with a sense of certainty. However, this attachment to the idea of permanence only leads to disappointment and suffering when these things inevitably change or disappear. Letting go of attachments. Detachment requires us to let go of our attachments, to release our grip on the things we hold dear. This does not mean that we should abandon our responsibilities or relationships, but rather that we should cultivate a mindset of non-attachment. By recognizing that everything is impermanent, we can appreciate and enjoy the present moment without clinging to it or fearing its eventual end. Embracing impermanence as liberation. When we fully embrace the impermanence of life, we find liberation. We no longer need to rely on external circumstances or outcomes to define our happiness. Instead, we can find joy and contentment in the present moment, knowing that it is all we truly have. We become less attached to the outcomes of our actions and more focused on the process itself, finding fulfillment in the journey rather than the destination. Living in the present moment. Impermanence teaches us the importance of living in the present moment. When we are constantly preoccupied with the past or future, we miss out on the richness and beauty of the present. By cultivating mindfulness and awareness, we can fully engage with each moment, savoring the experiences and connections that arise. This practice allows us to let go of regrets and worries, finding peace and contentment in the here and now. Letting go of expectations. Impermanence also invites us to let go of expectations. When we cling to specific outcomes or attach ourselves to certain expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. By embracing the ever-changing nature of life, we can release our attachment to specific outcomes and instead focus on the process and the lessons that each experience brings. This shift in perspective allows us to find freedom and flexibility in the face of uncertainty. Embracing the flow of life. Impermanence teaches us to embrace the flow of life. Just as a river constantly changes and adapts to its surroundings, we too must learn to flow with the ever-changing circumstances of our lives. By surrendering to the natural rhythm of life, we can navigate challenges with grace and resilience. We become less resistant to change and more open to the opportunities that arise in each moment. Finding freedom in impermanence. In the midst of a world that is constantly changing, finding freedom in impermanence is a profound and transformative experience. It allows us to let go of the illusion of control and find peace in the uncertainty of life. By embracing impermanence, we can cultivate a sense of detachment, release our attachments, and live with greater presence and authenticity. It is through this journey of embracing impermanence that we can truly find freedom and liberation on the path of detachment. Living in the present moment. Living in the present moment is a fundamental aspect of practicing detachment. When we are fully present, we are able to let go of the past and the future, and instead, focus our attention on the here and now. This state of presence allows us to experience life as it unfolds without being burdened by regrets or anxieties. The power of now. In our fast-paced and busy lives, it is easy to get caught up in the constant stream of thoughts and worries. We often find ourselves dwelling on past events or worrying about what the future holds. However, by constantly living in the past or the future, we miss out on the beauty and richness of the present moment. The present moment is where life truly happens. It is the only moment that is real and tangible. When we are fully present, we are able to engage with our surroundings, connect with others, and experience the full range of emotions that life has to offer. By living in the present moment, we can cultivate a sense of peace, joy, and contentment. Letting go of distractions. Living in the present moment requires us to let go of distractions that pull us away from the here and now. One of the biggest distractions in our modern world is technology. We are constantly bombarded with notifications, messages, and social media updates, which can easily consume our attention and pull us away from the present moment. To live in the present moment, it is important to create boundaries with technology. This can involve setting aside specific times of the day to disconnect from devices and engage in activities that promote presence, such as meditation, mindfulness, or simply spending time in nature. By consciously choosing to disconnect from technology, we can create space for presence and deepen our connection with ourselves and the world around us. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is a powerful practice that can help us cultivate presence in our daily lives. It involves paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations, and learn to observe them without getting caught up in them. There are many ways to incorporate mindfulness into our daily routines. One simple practice is to take a few moments each day to pause and bring our attention to our breath. By focusing on the sensation of the breath entering and leaving our body, we can anchor ourselves in the present moment and cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. Another way to cultivate mindfulness is through mindful eating. Instead of rushing through meals or eating on autopilot, we can take the time to savor each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and smells of the food. By bringing our full attention to the act of eating, we can experience a deeper sense of satisfaction and connection with our bodies. Embracing the beauty of the present moment. When we live in the present moment, we open ourselves up to the beauty and wonder that surrounds us. We become more attuned to the small miracles of everyday life, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the sound of birds chirping, the taste of a delicious meal. By fully immersing ourselves in these experiences, we can find joy and gratitude in the simplest of moments. Living in the present moment also allows us to fully engage with others. When we are present in our interactions, we can listen deeply, empathize with others, and truly connect on a meaningful level. By being fully present with our loved ones, we can create deeper and more fulfilling relationships. Overcoming the challenges. Living in the present moment is not always easy. Our minds are naturally inclined to wander, and we may find ourselves getting caught up in worries, regrets, or fantasies. However, with practice and intention, we can train our minds to come back to the present moment. One helpful technique is to anchor ourselves in our senses. By bringing our attention to the sensations in our body, the sounds around us, or the sights in our environment, we can ground ourselves in the present moment and let go of distractions. Another technique is to cultivate a sense of curiosity and wonder. By approaching each moment with a beginner's mind, we can see the world with fresh eyes and fully engage with our experiences. Living in the present moment is a lifelong practice. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to let go of attachments to the past and the future. But as we cultivate presence in our lives, we can experience a deep sense of peace, fulfillment, and connection with ourselves and the world around us. Letting go of expectations. Expectations are a natural part of human life. We all have expectations about how things should be, how people should behave, and how events should unfold. However, these expectations can often lead to disappointment, frustration, and a sense of dissatisfaction. In the path of detachment, one of the key principles is to let go of expectations and embrace the flow of life. The nature of expectations. Expectations are formed based on our desires, beliefs, and past experiences. They are often rooted in our need for control and certainty. We create expectations as a way to navigate the world and make sense of our experiences. However, when our expectations are not met, we can feel a sense of loss, anger, or sadness. Expectations can be both explicit and implicit. Explicit expectations are those that we consciously communicate to others or ourselves. For example, we may expect our partner to remember our anniversary or our colleague to complete a task on time. Implicit expectations, on the other hand, are often unspoken and may be based on assumptions or societal norms. For example, we may expect our parents to always support us or our friends to always be there for us. The pitfalls of expectations. While expectations can sometimes motivate us and give us a sense of direction, they can also become a source of suffering. When we hold on to rigid expectations, we limit our ability to adapt to new circumstances and embrace the present moment. Expectations can create a gap between reality and our idealized version of how things should be, leading to disappointment and frustration. Expectations can also strain relationships. When we have unrealistic expectations of others, we set them up for failure and ourselves for disappointment. We may become resentful or judgmental when our expectations are not met, which can create tension and conflict in our interactions. Letting go of expectations. Letting go of expectations does not mean that we stop setting goals or having preferences. It means cultivating a mindset of openness, flexibility, and acceptance. It means recognizing that life is unpredictable and that things may not always go according to plan. By letting go of expectations, we free ourselves from the burden of attachment and allow space for growth, learning, and serendipity. Embracing uncertainty. One of the first steps in letting go of expectations is embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently uncertain, and trying to control or predict every outcome is an exercise in futility. Instead of resisting uncertainty, we can learn to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and discovery. By accepting that we cannot control everything, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in letting go of expectations. By practicing mindfulness, we develop the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment or attachment. This allows us to become aware of our expectations as they arise and choose whether to hold on to them or let them go. Mindfulness helps us stay present in the moment and appreciate things as they are, rather than constantly striving for something different. Shifting perspective. Letting go of expectations often requires a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on what we want or think should happen, we can shift our attention to what is actually happening in the present moment. This shift in perspective allows us to see the beauty and opportunities that exist in the here and now, rather than being fixated on an imagined future. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to expectations. When we cultivate a sense of gratitude for what we have and the experiences we encounter, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is abundant. Gratitude helps us appreciate the present moment and find contentment in the here and now, rather than constantly yearning for something more. The benefits of letting go of expectations. Letting go of expectations can have profound effects on our well-being and relationships. When we release the grip of expectations, we experience greater peace of mind, acceptance, and resilience. We become more adaptable and open to new possibilities. Our relationships become more harmonious as we let go of judgment and allow others to be who they are. We also become more present and engaged in our lives, savoring each moment as it unfolds. By letting go of expectations, we create space for serendipity and synchronicity to enter our lives. We become more attuned to the flow of life and the opportunities that arise naturally. We learn to trust in the unfolding of events and have faith in our ability to navigate whatever comes our way. Conclusion. Letting go of expectations is a transformative practice that allows us to live with greater freedom, joy, and peace. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to embrace uncertainty, and a commitment to cultivating mindfulness and gratitude. By releasing the grip of expectations, we open ourselves up to the beauty and possibilities that exist in each moment. Embracing the flow of life, we embark on a journey of self-discovery, growth, and inner peace. Embracing the flow of life. In the journey of detachment, one of the key aspects to understand and embrace is the flow of life. Life is constantly moving, changing, and evolving, and when we resist this natural flow, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. Embracing the flow of life means surrendering to the inherent impermanence and unpredictability of existence, and finding peace and joy in the midst of it all. The nature of flow. Flow is the natural rhythm and movement of life. It is the ebb and flow of the tides, the changing seasons, and the cycles of birth and death. Just as a river flows effortlessly, life too has its own current that carries us forward. When we resist this flow, we create resistance and struggle. However, when we learn to align ourselves with the flow, we experience a sense of ease and harmony. Letting go of resistance. Resistance to the flow of life often stems from our attachment to outcomes, expectations, and the need for control. We cling to what we desire and fear what we don't want, trying to manipulate and force life to conform to our wishes. But the more we resist, the more we suffer. Embracing the flow of life requires us to let go of this resistance and surrender to what is. Trusting the universe. When we embrace the flow of life, we cultivate a deep trust in the universe. We understand that there is a greater intelligence at work, guiding and supporting us. We learn to trust that everything is happening for our highest good, even if it doesn't always appear that way in the moment. This trust allows us to let go of the need to control and opens us up to the infinite possibilities that life has to offer. Embracing change. Change is an inevitable part of life. Everything is in a constant state of flux, and when we resist change, we create suffering. Embracing the flow of life means embracing change. It means being open and adaptable, and allowing life to unfold naturally. Instead of clinging to what is familiar and comfortable, we learn to embrace the unknown and step into the realm of possibilities. Finding freedom in surrender. Surrender is a powerful act of letting go and allowing. It is the willingness to release our grip on control and surrender to the flow of life. When we surrender, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to make everything happen according to our limited understanding. We open ourselves up to the wisdom and guidance of the universe, and in doing so, we find a deep sense of freedom and liberation. Living in the present moment. The flow of life is always happening in the present moment. When we are fully present, we are able to tune into the subtle currents of life and navigate them with grace and ease. The present moment is where life unfolds, and by being fully present, we are able to make the most of every experience and fully engage with the flow of life. Embracing uncertainty. Uncertainty is a fundamental aspect of life. No matter how much we plan and prepare, there will always be an element of uncertainty. Embracing the flow of life means embracing this uncertainty and learning to find comfort in the unknown. It means letting go of the need for certainty and control, and instead, embracing the adventure and spontaneity that life has to offer. Cultivating flexibility. Flexibility is a key quality to cultivate when embracing the flow of life. Just as a tree bends with the wind, we too must learn to be flexible and adaptable. When we are rigid and resistant, we break under the pressure of life's challenges. But when we are flexible, we are able to bend and flow with the changing circumstances, finding creative solutions and maintaining our inner peace. Embracing the beauty of imperfection. In the flow of life, nothing is perfect. Perfection is an illusion that we create in our minds. When we let go of the need for perfection and embrace the beauty of imperfection, we free ourselves from the constant striving and self-judgment. We learn to appreciate the uniqueness and authenticity of each moment and find beauty in the imperfections of life. Surrendering to the divine plan. Ultimately, embracing the flow of life is about surrendering to the divine plan. It is about recognizing that there is a greater intelligence at work, and that we are part of a larger tapestry of existence. When we surrender to the divine plan, we align ourselves with the flow of life and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. In this surrender, we find peace, joy, and a deep sense of purpose. Embracing the flow of life is a profound practice that requires courage, trust, and a willingness to let go. It is a journey of surrendering to the unknown and embracing the beauty of impermanence. As we learn to align ourselves with the flow, we discover a deep sense of peace and freedom that transcends the ups and downs of life. Chapter 4: Finding Inner Peace. The power of stillness. In our fast-paced and chaotic world, finding moments of stillness can be a challenge. However, the power of stillness is undeniable when it comes to cultivating detachment and finding inner peace. In this section, we will explore the importance of stillness in the path of detachment and how it can transform our lives. Embracing silence. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is a state of being that allows us to connect with our inner selves and the world around us on a deeper level. When we embrace silence, we create space for reflection, introspection, and self-discovery. It is in these moments of stillness that we can truly detach from the external distractions and find clarity. Cultivating inner awareness. Stillness provides us with an opportunity to cultivate inner awareness. By quieting the mind and tuning into our thoughts, emotions, and sensations, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. This self-awareness allows us to recognize our attachments, desires, and fears, which are often the root causes of our suffering. Through stillness, we can detach from these attachments and find freedom from their grip. Connecting with the present moment. When we are constantly caught up in the busyness of life, we often miss out on the beauty and richness of the present moment. Stillness allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the here and now, experiencing life as it unfolds. By connecting with the present moment, we detach from the regrets of the past and the worries of the future. We learn to appreciate the simple joys and find contentment in the present. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. Stillness provides the perfect environment for cultivating mindfulness. When we are still, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. We can detach from the constant stream of thoughts and simply be present with what is. Through mindfulness, we develop a sense of detachment from our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with clarity and equanimity. Finding inner peace. The power of stillness lies in its ability to bring us closer to inner peace. When we are still, we create a space within ourselves where peace can flourish. In this space, we can let go of the external noise and find solace in the silence. Stillness allows us to detach from the chaos and demands of the world, bringing a sense of calm and tranquility to our lives. It is in this state of inner peace that we can truly experience the essence of detachment. The practice of stillness. Incorporating stillness into our daily lives requires practice and intention. Here are some practical ways to cultivate stillness. Meditation. Set aside dedicated time each day for meditation. Find a quiet and comfortable space where you can sit in stillness and focus on your breath or a chosen object of meditation. Allow your thoughts to come and go without judgment, simply observing them with detachment. Mindful walking. Take a walk in nature and practice mindful walking. Pay attention to the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, and the beauty of your surroundings. Allow yourself to be fully present in the moment, detached from any distractions or worries. Digital detox. Disconnect from technology and create moments of stillness by turning off your phone, computer, and other electronic devices. Use this time to engage in activities that promote stillness, such as reading, journaling, or simply sitting in silence. Breath work. Practice deep breathing exercises to calm the mind and bring yourself into the present moment. Focus on your breath, inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply. Allow the rhythm of your breath to anchor you in stillness. Nature immersion. Spend time in nature and immerse yourself in its beauty. Whether it's a hike in the mountains, a walk on the beach, or simply sitting under a tree, nature has a way of grounding us and bringing us into a state of stillness. By incorporating these practices into our lives, we can harness the power of stillness and cultivate detachment. Stillness allows us to detach from the external noise and distractions, connect with our inner selves, and find inner peace. It is through stillness that we can truly embrace the path of detachment and experience the transformative power it holds. Quieting the mind. In the journey of detachment, one of the key aspects is quieting the mind. Our minds are constantly bombarded with thoughts, worries, and distractions, which can prevent us from experiencing true inner peace and detachment. Quieting the mind allows us to let go of the constant chatter and noise, and create space for stillness and clarity. The monkey mind. The mind is often compared to a monkey, constantly jumping from one thought to another, never staying still. This constant mental activity can be exhausting and overwhelming. It is important to recognize that we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are simply mental constructs that arise and pass away. Quieting the mind involves observing these thoughts without getting caught up in them. The practice of meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for quieting the mind. It involves sitting in a comfortable position, closing the eyes, and focusing the attention on a single point of focus, such as the breath or a mantra. Through consistent practice, meditation helps to calm the mind and cultivate a sense of inner stillness. During meditation, thoughts may arise, but the key is to observe them without judgment or attachment. Instead of getting carried away by the thoughts, gently bring the attention back to the chosen point of focus. Over time, this practice strengthens the ability to detach from thoughts and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Mindfulness in daily life. Quieting the mind is not limited to formal meditation practice. It can also be integrated into our daily lives through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness involves bringing our full attention to the present moment, without judgment or attachment. In our fast-paced and busy lives, we often find ourselves caught up in the past or worrying about the future. Mindfulness helps us to anchor ourselves in the present moment, allowing us to fully experience and appreciate each moment as it unfolds. By being fully present, we can detach from the constant stream of thoughts and find peace in the present moment. Cultivating awareness. Another aspect of quieting the mind is cultivating awareness. Awareness is the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without getting entangled in them. It is the practice of stepping back and becoming the witness to our own experiences. By cultivating awareness, we can begin to recognize the patterns and habits of our mind. We become aware of the thoughts that arise, the emotions that surface, and the sensations in our body. This awareness allows us to detach from these experiences and see them for what they truly are, temporary and ever-changing. Letting go of mental clutter. Quieting the mind also involves letting go of mental clutter. Mental clutter refers to the unnecessary thoughts, worries, and distractions that occupy our minds. These can include regrets about the past, anxieties about the future, and judgments about ourselves and others. To let go of mental clutter, it is important to practice non-attachment. This means acknowledging the thoughts and emotions that arise, but not getting caught up in them. Instead of dwelling on negative thoughts or worries, we can choose to let them go and redirect our attention to the present moment. Creating space for stillness. By quieting the mind, we create space for stillness. Stillness is the state of inner calm and tranquility that arises when the mind is free from constant mental activity. It is in this state of stillness that we can experience true detachment and connect with our inner selves. Creating space for stillness can be done through various practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and spending time in nature. By regularly engaging in these practices, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and detachment that extends beyond our meditation cushion and into our daily lives. The benefits of a quiet mind. Quieting the mind has numerous benefits for our overall well-being. When the mind is quiet, we experience reduced stress and anxiety, improved focus and concentration, enhanced creativity, and a greater sense of inner peace. A quiet mind allows us to respond to life's challenges with clarity and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively. In the path of detachment, quieting the mind is an essential practice. It helps us to let go of attachments, cultivate awareness, and find inner peace. By quieting the mind, we can detach from the constant mental chatter and connect with our true selves, experiencing the profound freedom and joy that comes with detachment. Practicing mindfulness. In the journey of detachment, one of the most powerful tools we can utilize is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the current moment, without judgment or attachment to the past or future. It is a state of heightened awareness and conscious attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Cultivating awareness. To practice mindfulness, we must first cultivate a sense of awareness. This involves paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations as they arise in the present moment. By observing our experiences without judgment, we can gain insight into the patterns and tendencies of our mind. One way to cultivate awareness is through meditation. By sitting in a quiet and comfortable space, we can focus our attention on our breath or a specific object. As thoughts arise, we acknowledge them without getting caught up in their content and gently bring our attention back to the present moment. Through consistent practice, we can train our minds to become more aware and present in our daily lives. Embracing the present moment. Mindfulness is about embracing the present moment, regardless of whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. It is about fully experiencing and accepting what is happening right now, without trying to change or control it. This acceptance allows us to let go of resistance and attachment, and find peace in the midst of any situation. In our fast-paced and busy lives, it is easy to get caught up in the past or future. We often dwell on past regrets or worry about future uncertainties. However, by practicing mindfulness, we can bring our attention back to the present moment and fully engage with what is happening right now. This not only enhances our ability to experience joy and gratitude, but also helps us navigate challenges with clarity and resilience. Observing thoughts and emotions. One of the key aspects of mindfulness is observing our thoughts and emotions without getting entangled in them. We often identify ourselves with our thoughts and emotions, believing that they define who we are. However, through mindfulness, we can develop a sense of detachment from our thoughts and emotions, recognizing that they are transient and not a true reflection of our essence. By observing our thoughts and emotions with curiosity and non-judgment, we can gain insight into the patterns and conditioning of our mind. We can begin to recognize the stories we tell ourselves and the habitual reactions we have to certain situations. This awareness allows us to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and compassion, rather than reacting out of unconscious patterns. Engaging the senses. Another way to practice mindfulness is by engaging our senses fully in the present moment. Often, we go through life on autopilot, not fully experiencing the richness and beauty of our surroundings. By bringing our attention to our senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, we can awaken to the present moment and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the world around us. For example, when eating a meal, we can savor each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and aromas. When walking in nature, we can pay attention to the colors, sounds, and sensations of the environment. By engaging our senses fully, we can anchor ourselves in the present moment and experience a profound sense of connection and aliveness. Integrating mindfulness into daily life. Practicing mindfulness is not limited to formal meditation sessions. It is a way of being that can be integrated into every aspect of our lives. We can bring mindfulness to our daily activities such as eating, walking, working, and interacting with others. By bringing our full attention and presence to each moment, we can cultivate a sense of spaciousness and peace within ourselves. We can let go of the constant striving and busyness, and instead embrace the simplicity and beauty of each moment. Mindfulness allows us to live with greater intention and authenticity, and to fully engage with the richness of life. In conclusion, practicing mindfulness is a powerful tool on the path of detachment. It allows us to cultivate awareness, embrace the present moment, observe our thoughts and emotions, engage our senses, and integrate mindfulness into our daily lives. By practicing mindfulness, we can develop a deep sense of inner peace and freedom and navigate life's challenges with grace and equanimity. Connecting with nature. Nature has a profound ability to bring us back to our true selves and help us cultivate a sense of detachment. When we immerse ourselves in the beauty and tranquility of the natural world, we are reminded of the impermanence of life and the interconnectedness of all things. In this section, we will explore the power of connecting with nature as a means to deepen our practice of detachment. The healing power of nature. Spending time in nature has a profound impact on our well-being. The sights, sounds, and smells of the natural world have a calming effect on our minds and bodies. Research has shown that being in nature can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve overall mental health. When we are surrounded by the beauty of nature, our worries and anxieties seem to fade away, and we are able to experience a sense of peace and tranquility. Cultivating presence. Nature has a way of bringing us into the present moment. When we are in nature, we become more aware of our surroundings and the sensations in our bodies. We notice the gentle rustling of leaves, the warmth of the sun on our skin, and the scent of flowers in the air. By immersing ourselves in the present moment, we are able to let go of the past and the future, and simply be. Letting go of control. In nature, we are reminded of the natural cycles of life and the inevitability of change. We witness the changing seasons, the ebb and flow of tides, and the growth and decay of plants and animals. Nature teaches us that we cannot control everything and that it is futile to resist the natural order of things. By surrendering to the flow of nature, we learn to let go of our need for control and embrace the uncertainty of life. Finding unity. When we connect with nature, we realize that we are not separate from the world around us. We are part of a vast and interconnected web of life. The trees, the animals, the rivers, and the mountains are all part of the same intricate tapestry of existence. In nature, we experience a sense of unity and interconnectedness that transcends our individual selves. This realization helps us detach from our ego-driven desires and cultivate a sense of compassion and empathy for all living beings. Reconnecting with our true nature. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, we often lose touch with our true nature. We become caught up in the demands and expectations of society, and we forget who we really are. When we spend time in nature, we are reminded of our inherent connection to the earth and the natural world. We remember that we are not defined by our possessions or achievements, but by our ability to love, to be present, and to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us. Practicing mindfulness in nature. Nature provides the perfect backdrop for practicing mindfulness. As we walk through a forest or sit by the ocean, we can bring our attention to the present moment and fully engage our senses. We can observe the intricate details of a flower, listen to the symphony of birdsong, and feel the earth beneath our feet. By practicing mindfulness in nature, we cultivate a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation for the world around us. Finding solace and inspiration. Nature has a way of soothing our souls and providing us with solace during challenging times. When we are feeling overwhelmed or lost, a walk in the woods or a moment spent gazing at the stars can offer us a sense of perspective and renewal. Nature also serves as a source of inspiration, sparking our creativity and igniting our sense of wonder. By connecting with nature, we tap into a wellspring of wisdom and inspiration that can guide us on our path of detachment. Environmental stewardship. Connecting with nature also involves taking responsibility for its preservation. As we deepen our connection with the natural world, we develop a sense of stewardship and a desire to protect and preserve the environment. We become more mindful of our actions and their impact on the earth. By living in harmony with nature and making conscious choices that support sustainability, we contribute to the well-being of the planet and future generations. In conclusion, connecting with nature is a powerful practice that can deepen our understanding and experience of detachment. By immersing ourselves in the beauty and wisdom of the natural world, we cultivate presence, let go of control, and find unity with all living beings. Nature serves as a reminder of our true nature and provides solace, inspiration, and a sense of interconnectedness. Let us embrace the path of detachment by connecting with nature and nurturing a deep reverence for the earth. Chapter 5: Detaching from Ego. Understanding the ego. The ego is a concept that has been widely discussed and debated in various fields, including psychology, philosophy, and spirituality. It is often described as the sense of self or the identity that we construct based on our thoughts, beliefs, and experiences. Understanding the ego is an essential aspect of the path of detachment, as it is the ego that often keeps us attached to our desires, fears, and illusions. The illusion of separation. One of the fundamental aspects of the ego is the illusion of separation. The ego creates a sense of individuality and distinctiveness, making us believe that we are separate from others and the world around us. This illusion of separation leads to a constant need for validation, recognition, and control. We become attached to our identities, possessions, and relationships, seeking external sources of happiness and fulfillment. The role of the ego. The ego plays a crucial role in our lives. It helps us navigate the physical world, make decisions, and interact with others. It is responsible for our survival instincts, protecting us from harm and ensuring our well-being. However, when the ego becomes overly dominant, it can lead to suffering and dissatisfaction. The ego constantly seeks validation and control, creating a never-ending cycle of desires and attachments. Ego-driven behaviors. Recognizing ego-driven behaviors is an important step in understanding and transcending the ego. These behaviors often stem from a place of fear, insecurity, and the need for control. Some common ego-driven behaviors include: need for approval. The ego seeks approval and validation from others. It craves recognition and praise, often at the expense of our own well-being. We may find ourselves constantly seeking external validation, relying on others' opinions to feel worthy and valuable. Comparison and competition. The ego thrives on comparison and competition. It constantly compares ourselves to others, seeking to be better, more successful, or more attractive. This mindset creates a sense of separation and can lead to envy, jealousy, and a constant need to prove ourselves. Attachment to identity. The ego attaches itself to our identities, whether it be our profession, social status, or roles in relationships. We become identified with these labels and feel a sense of loss or threat when they are challenged or taken away. This attachment to identity can limit our growth and prevent us from embracing change. Resistance to change. The ego resists change and clings to familiarity and comfort. It fears the unknown and perceives change as a threat to its sense of control and security. This resistance to change can lead to stagnation and prevent us from embracing new opportunities and experiences. Transcending the ego. Transcending the ego is a process of becoming aware of its influence and learning to detach from its grip. It involves recognizing the ego-driven behaviors and patterns that keep us trapped in attachments and suffering. Here are some practices that can help in transcending the ego. Self-reflection and awareness. Developing self-reflection and awareness is essential in understanding the ego. By observing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we can gain insight into the patterns and attachments created by the ego. This awareness allows us to make conscious choices and detach from ego-driven reactions. Letting go of identification. Letting go of identification with our thoughts, beliefs, and identities is a powerful practice in transcending the ego. By recognizing that we are not our thoughts or roles, we can detach from the need for validation and control. This allows us to embrace our true essence beyond the ego. Cultivating compassion and empathy. Practicing compassion and empathy towards ourselves and others helps dissolve the ego's sense of separation. When we recognize the interconnectedness of all beings, we can let go of the need for comparison and competition. Compassion allows us to see beyond the ego's limitations and connect with the essence of others. Surrendering to the present moment. Surrendering to the present moment is a powerful practice in transcending the ego. By letting go of the need to control and resisting change, we can embrace the flow of life. Surrendering allows us to trust in the unfolding of events and find peace in the present moment. Living from a place of authenticity. Transcending the ego ultimately leads us to live from a place of authenticity. When we detach from the ego's illusions and attachments, we can align with our true selves. Living authentically means expressing our values, desires, and passions without seeking external validation or approval. It is a state of being true to ourselves and embracing the uniqueness of our individual journeys. Understanding the ego is a crucial step in the path of detachment. By recognizing its influence and learning to transcend its limitations, we can cultivate inner peace, freedom, and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. Recognizing ego-driven behaviors. In order to truly understand and cultivate detachment, it is essential to recognize the ego-driven behaviors that often hinder our progress on the path of detachment. The ego, or the sense of self, is a powerful force that can cloud our judgment and keep us trapped in a cycle of attachment and suffering. By becoming aware of these ego-driven behaviors, we can begin to transcend them and live a more detached and authentic life. The illusion of separation. One of the most common ego-driven behaviors is the illusion of separation. The ego creates a false sense of self that is separate from others and the world around us. This illusion leads to a constant need for validation, comparison, and competition. We become attached to our identity and seek external approval to validate our worth. Recognizing this ego-driven behavior requires a shift in perspective. We must understand that we are all interconnected and part of a larger whole. By letting go of the illusion of separation, we can cultivate a sense of unity and compassion towards others. This allows us to detach from the need for external validation and find inner peace. Attachment to outcomes. Another ego-driven behavior is the attachment to outcomes. The ego thrives on control and certainty, and it often leads us to become fixated on specific outcomes or results. We believe that our happiness and fulfillment depend on achieving these outcomes, and we become attached to them. Recognizing this ego-driven behavior requires us to let go of our attachment to specific outcomes and embrace the uncertainty of life. We must understand that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external achievements. By detaching from the need for specific outcomes, we can open ourselves up to new possibilities and find peace in the present moment. Seeking approval and validation. The ego-driven behavior of seeking approval and validation is deeply ingrained in our society. We often look to others for validation and base our self-worth on their opinions and judgments. This constant need for approval keeps us trapped in a cycle of attachment and prevents us from living authentically. Recognizing this ego-driven behavior requires us to cultivate self-acceptance and self-love. We must learn to validate ourselves from within and trust our own judgment. By detaching from the need for external approval, we can live in alignment with our true selves and find inner peace. Fear of change and loss. The ego is resistant to change and loss because it thrives on familiarity and control. We become attached to our comfort zones and fear the unknown. This fear of change and loss keeps us stuck in unhealthy patterns and prevents us from embracing the impermanence of life. Recognizing this ego-driven behavior requires us to confront our fears and embrace the inevitability of change. We must understand that change is a natural part of life and that clinging to the familiar only leads to suffering. By detaching from the fear of change and loss, we can embrace the flow of life and find freedom in impermanence. Comparison and jealousy. The ego-driven behaviors of comparison and jealousy stem from a sense of lack and inadequacy. We compare ourselves to others and feel jealous of their achievements or possessions. This constant comparison keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and prevents us from appreciating our own unique journey. Recognizing these ego-driven behaviors requires us to cultivate gratitude and contentment. We must learn to celebrate the successes of others without feeling threatened or inadequate. By detaching from the need to compare ourselves to others, we can embrace our own journey and find joy in the present moment. Control and manipulation. The ego thrives on control and manipulation. We often try to control others and manipulate situations to fit our own desires and agendas. This need for control stems from a fear of vulnerability and a lack of trust in the natural flow of life. Recognizing these ego-driven behaviors requires us to let go of the need for control and surrender to the wisdom of the universe. We must learn to trust that everything happens for a reason and that we are not in control of everything. By detaching from the need for control and manipulation, we can find peace in surrendering to the natural order of life. In conclusion, recognizing ego-driven behaviors is a crucial step on the path of detachment. By becoming aware of these behaviors, we can begin to transcend the ego and live a more authentic and detached life. It requires a shift in perspective, letting go of attachments, and embracing the present moment. By recognizing and transcending ego-driven behaviors, we can find inner peace and live from a place of authenticity. Transcending the ego. The ego is a fundamental aspect of human existence. It is the part of us that identifies with our individuality, separates us from others, and seeks validation and control. While the ego serves a purpose in our lives, it can also be a source of suffering and limitation. Transcending the ego is an essential step on the path of detachment, as it allows us to move beyond the confines of our individual self and connect with a deeper sense of truth and authenticity. Understanding the ego. To transcend the ego, it is important to first understand its nature. The ego is formed through a combination of our experiences, beliefs, and societal conditioning. It creates a sense of identity and separateness, leading us to believe that we are separate from others and the world around us. The ego constantly seeks validation and control, often leading to attachment, fear, and suffering. Recognizing ego-driven behaviors. Recognizing ego-driven behaviors is a crucial step in transcending the ego. These behaviors can manifest in various ways, such as the need for approval, the desire for power and control, the fear of failure or rejection, and the constant comparison with others. When we become aware of these behaviors, we can start to question their validity and their impact on our well-being. Letting go of identification with the ego. Transcending the ego requires letting go of our identification with it. This means recognizing that we are not solely defined by our thoughts, emotions, and external circumstances. We are more than our egoic self. We are connected to a deeper essence that is beyond the limitations of the ego. By letting go of identification with the ego, we can begin to experience a greater sense of freedom and inner peace. Cultivating self-awareness. Self-awareness is a powerful tool in transcending the ego. By cultivating self-awareness, we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment or attachment. This allows us to gain insight into the patterns and conditioning of the ego and to make conscious choices that align with our true selves. Through practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and self-reflection, we can develop a deeper understanding of our ego and its influence on our lives. Embracing the witness consciousness. One of the key aspects of transcending the ego is embracing the witness consciousness. The witness consciousness is the part of us that observes our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without getting caught up in them. It is the part of us that remains unaffected by the fluctuations of the ego. By cultivating the witness consciousness, we can detach ourselves from the ego's grip and gain a broader perspective on life. Practicing non-attachment. Practicing non-attachment is another important aspect of transcending the ego. Non-attachment does not mean detachment or indifference, rather, it means letting go of the need for external validation and control. It means being open to the flow of life and accepting things as they are, without clinging or resisting. By practicing non-attachment, we can free ourselves from the limitations of the ego and experience a greater sense of peace and contentment. Connecting with the higher self. Transcending the ego involves connecting with our higher self, the part of us that is beyond the egoic mind. This higher self is connected to a greater intelligence and wisdom that transcends our individual identity. By cultivating a connection with our higher self through practices such as meditation, prayer, and self-reflection, we can tap into a deeper source of guidance and clarity. This connection allows us to align our thoughts, actions, and intentions with a higher purpose and to live from a place of authenticity. Living from a place of authenticity. Transcending the ego ultimately leads us to live from a place of authenticity. When we let go of the ego's need for validation and control, we can embrace our true selves and express our unique gifts and talents. Living authentically means being true to ourselves, honoring our values and passions, and aligning our actions with our inner truth. It is a state of being where we are no longer driven by the ego's desires and fears, but guided by a deeper sense of purpose and connection. In transcending the ego, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities and experiences beyond the limitations of the egoic mind. We discover a greater sense of peace, freedom, and authenticity. By recognizing the ego, cultivating self-awareness, practicing non-attachment, and connecting with our higher self, we can transcend the ego and embark on a transformative journey towards a more detached and fulfilling life. Living from a place of authenticity. Living from a place of authenticity is a key aspect of practicing detachment. When we detach from the ego and let go of attachments, we create space for our true selves to emerge. Authenticity is about being true to who we are at our core, without the need for external validation or approval. It is about living in alignment with our values, beliefs, and desires, rather than conforming to societal expectations or trying to please others. Embracing self-acceptance. Living from a place of authenticity begins with self-acceptance. It requires us to embrace all aspects of ourselves, including our strengths, weaknesses, and imperfections. When we accept ourselves fully, we no longer feel the need to hide or pretend to be someone we are not. We can show up in the world as our true selves, without fear of judgment or rejection. Self-acceptance also involves letting go of the need for external validation. Instead of seeking approval from others, we learn to trust our own judgment and intuition. We recognize that our worth is not determined by others' opinions of us, but by our own self-worth and self-love. Honoring our truth. Living from a place of authenticity means honoring our truth and speaking our truth. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and others about our thoughts, feelings, and needs. When we live in alignment with our truth, we experience a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. Honoring our truth also means setting boundaries and saying no when necessary. It means not compromising our values or sacrificing our well-being for the sake of others' expectations or demands. By setting boundaries, we protect our energy and ensure that we are living in a way that is true to ourselves. Cultivating self-awareness. Living from a place of authenticity requires cultivating self-awareness. It involves taking the time to reflect on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and understanding how they align with our true selves. Self-awareness allows us to recognize when we are acting out of alignment with our authenticity and make conscious choices to realign ourselves. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can be helpful in developing self-awareness. These practices allow us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment and to connect with our inner wisdom. Through self-awareness, we can identify the patterns and conditioning that may be holding us back from living authentically and consciously choose to let go of them. Embracing vulnerability. Living from a place of authenticity requires embracing vulnerability. It means allowing ourselves to be seen and heard, even when it feels uncomfortable or scary. When we are vulnerable, we open ourselves up to deeper connections with others and create space for genuine intimacy and understanding. Embracing vulnerability also means being open to growth and change. It means being willing to let go of old beliefs, habits, and identities that no longer serve us. By embracing vulnerability, we allow ourselves to evolve and grow into the best version of ourselves. Expressing our authenticity. Living from a place of authenticity involves expressing ourselves in ways that feel true to who we are. It means pursuing our passions, interests, and creative outlets without fear of judgment or failure. When we express our authenticity, we inspire others to do the same and create a ripple effect of authenticity in the world. Expressing our authenticity also means living in alignment with our values and making choices that reflect our true selves. It means living a life that is congruent with our beliefs and desires, rather than conforming to societal norms or external expectations. Embracing the journey. Living from a place of authenticity is an ongoing journey. It is not a destination that we reach and then stay at permanently. It requires constant self-reflection, self-compassion, and self-growth. As we continue to detach from the ego and let go of attachments, we deepen our connection with our authentic selves and experience greater joy, fulfillment, and inner peace. Embracing the journey of living from a place of authenticity also means embracing the unknown and being open to the possibilities that life presents. It means trusting that when we live in alignment with our true selves, we are guided towards experiences and opportunities that are in our highest good. In conclusion, living from a place of authenticity is a powerful way to practice detachment. It involves embracing self-acceptance, honoring our truth, cultivating self-awareness, embracing vulnerability, expressing our authenticity, and embracing the journey. When we live authentically, we create a life that is true to who we are and experience a deep sense of fulfillment and inner peace. Chapter 6: Detachment in Relationships. Detaching from expectations in relationships. In our relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, or friendships, we often have certain expectations of how the other person should behave, what they should say, or how they should make us feel. These expectations can create a lot of tension and disappointment when they are not met. Detaching from expectations in relationships is a crucial step towards cultivating healthier and more fulfilling connections with others. Understanding expectations in relationships. Expectations in relationships are the beliefs and assumptions we hold about how the other person should act or what they should provide for us. These expectations can be conscious or unconscious, and they are often influenced by societal norms, personal experiences, and our own desires. While some expectations may be reasonable and necessary for a healthy relationship, others can be unrealistic and detrimental. The pitfalls of expectations. Having expectations in relationships can lead to a variety of negative consequences. When our expectations are not met, we may feel disappointed, frustrated, or resentful towards the other person. This can create a cycle of conflict and dissatisfaction, as we continuously judge and criticize the other person for not living up to our expectations. Additionally, expectations can place unnecessary pressure on the other person, making them feel inadequate or overwhelmed. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. To detach from expectations in relationships, it is important to identify and let go of unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations are those that are based on idealized notions of how the other person should be or what they should do. These expectations often stem from our own insecurities, fears, or unmet needs. By acknowledging and challenging these unrealistic expectations, we can begin to free ourselves from the burden they place on our relationships. cultivating acceptance and flexibility. Detaching from expectations requires cultivating acceptance and flexibility in our relationships. Acceptance means embracing the other person as they are, without trying to change or control them. It involves recognizing their unique qualities, strengths, and limitations, and appreciating them for who they are. Flexibility, on the other hand, involves being open to different perspectives, ideas, and ways of being. It means letting go of rigid expectations and allowing room for growth and change. Communicating needs and boundaries. While detaching from expectations does not mean abandoning our needs and boundaries, it does require effective communication. It is important to express our needs and boundaries to the other person in a clear and respectful manner. By doing so, we create an opportunity for open and honest dialogue, where both parties can understand and support each other's needs. This communication also helps to prevent misunderstandings and unmet expectations. Embracing authenticity and vulnerability. Detaching from expectations in relationships also involves embracing authenticity and vulnerability. Authenticity means being true to ourselves and expressing our thoughts, feelings, and desires honestly. It means letting go of the need to please others or conform to societal expectations. Vulnerability, on the other hand, involves allowing ourselves to be seen and known by the other person. It means opening up and sharing our fears, insecurities, and imperfections. By embracing authenticity and vulnerability, we create a space for genuine connection and intimacy in our relationships. Practicing gratitude and appreciation. Detaching from expectations in relationships can be challenging, especially when we have become accustomed to certain patterns or behaviors. One way to cultivate detachment is by practicing gratitude and appreciation. By focusing on the positive aspects of the other person and the relationship, we shift our attention away from unmet expectations and towards gratitude for what is present. This practice helps us to foster a sense of contentment and fulfillment, even in the absence of certain expectations being met. Embracing the unknown. Detaching from expectations in relationships also involves embracing the unknown. It means letting go of the need to predict or control the future of the relationship. Instead of trying to force a specific outcome, we learn to trust in the natural flow and evolution of the connection. This requires surrendering to the uncertainty and embracing the possibilities that arise when we release our attachment to specific expectations. Cultivating self-love and self-worth. Detaching from expectations in relationships ultimately requires cultivating self-love and self-worth. When we have a strong sense of self and value ourselves independent of external validation, we are less likely to rely on others to fulfill our needs or meet our expectations. By prioritizing self-care, self-compassion, and self-acceptance, we create a solid foundation for healthy and balanced relationships. Detaching from expectations in relationships is a lifelong practice that requires self-awareness, patience, and compassion. By letting go of unrealistic expectations, cultivating acceptance and flexibility, communicating effectively, embracing authenticity and vulnerability, practicing gratitude and appreciation, embracing the unknown, and cultivating self-love and self-worth, we can create more harmonious and fulfilling connections with others. Maintaining boundaries. Maintaining boundaries is an essential aspect of practicing detachment in relationships. When we talk about boundaries, we are referring to the limits we set for ourselves and others in order to protect our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Boundaries help us establish healthy and respectful relationships, where we can maintain our individuality and avoid becoming enmeshed or codependent. Understanding boundaries. Boundaries are like invisible fences that define where we end and others begin. They are the guidelines we set for ourselves to determine what is acceptable and what is not in our interactions with others. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or mental, and they vary from person to person based on their values, beliefs, and personal experiences. Physical boundaries involve personal space and touch. They include things like not allowing others to invade our personal space without permission, respecting our physical boundaries, and setting limits on physical touch. Emotional boundaries, on the other hand, pertain to our feelings and emotions. They involve recognizing and honoring our own emotions, as well as respecting the emotions of others. Mental boundaries relate to our thoughts, opinions, and values. They involve having the freedom to think for ourselves, express our opinions, and not allowing others to manipulate or control our thoughts. The importance of boundaries in detachment. Maintaining boundaries is crucial in practicing detachment because it allows us to separate our own experiences and emotions from those of others. When we have clear boundaries, we can avoid taking on the emotions, problems, or responsibilities of others, which can lead to emotional exhaustion and a loss of our own sense of self. Boundaries also help us establish a sense of autonomy and independence. They allow us to make decisions that align with our own values and needs, rather than constantly seeking approval or validation from others. By maintaining boundaries, we can create a healthy balance between giving and receiving in relationships, without sacrificing our own well-being. Setting and communicating boundaries. Setting boundaries begins with self-awareness and understanding our own needs, values, and limits. It requires us to reflect on what is important to us and what we are willing to tolerate in our relationships. Once we have a clear understanding of our boundaries, it is important to communicate them effectively to others. Communication is key when it comes to maintaining boundaries. We need to express our needs, limits, and expectations in a clear and assertive manner. This means being honest with ourselves and others about what we are comfortable with and what we are not. It also involves being consistent in enforcing our boundaries and not allowing them to be crossed without consequence. Respecting others' boundaries. Just as we expect others to respect our boundaries, it is equally important for us to respect the boundaries of others. This requires us to be mindful of their needs, values, and limits, and to refrain from pressuring or manipulating them into crossing their boundaries. Respecting others' boundaries fosters trust, mutual respect, and healthy communication in relationships. Adjusting boundaries. Boundaries are not set in stone and may need to be adjusted as circumstances change. It is important to regularly reassess our boundaries and make any necessary adjustments to ensure they align with our current needs and values. This may involve having open and honest conversations with ourselves and others about our boundaries and any changes that need to be made. Seeking support. Maintaining boundaries can sometimes be challenging, especially if we have a history of codependency or have difficulty asserting ourselves. In such cases, seeking support from a therapist, counselor, or support group can be beneficial. These professionals can provide guidance, tools, and strategies to help us establish and maintain healthy boundaries in our relationships. In conclusion, maintaining boundaries is an integral part of practicing detachment in relationships. Boundaries allow us to protect our well-being, maintain our individuality, and establish healthy and respectful connections with others. By setting and communicating our boundaries effectively, respecting the boundaries of others, and seeking support when needed, we can navigate relationships with a sense of autonomy, balance, and detachment. Letting go of control in relationships. In our relationships, it is natural for us to want to feel a sense of control. We may believe that by exerting control, we can ensure that things go the way we want them to. However, this desire for control often stems from our own fears and insecurities. It can lead to tension, conflict, and ultimately, a lack of true connection with our loved ones. Letting go of control in relationships is an essential aspect of practicing detachment. It involves releasing the need to manipulate or dictate the actions and choices of others. Instead, it requires us to trust in the natural flow of life and have faith in the inherent wisdom and autonomy of those around us. Embracing trust and surrender. Letting go of control begins with embracing trust and surrender. Trusting that the universe has a greater plan and that everything will unfold as it should allows us to release the need to control every outcome. Surrendering to this higher power allows us to let go of our ego's desire for control and instead embrace a more harmonious and authentic way of relating to others. Trusting and surrendering in relationships means accepting that we cannot control or change another person. Each individual has their own journey, their own lessons to learn, and their own path to follow. By relinquishing control, we create space for growth, understanding, and acceptance within our relationships. Cultivating open communication. Letting go of control also involves cultivating open and honest communication within our relationships. When we try to control others, we often stifle their voices and invalidate their feelings. By creating an environment of open communication, we allow for the expression of thoughts, emotions, and needs without judgment or manipulation. In open communication, we listen attentively to our loved ones, seeking to understand their perspectives and experiences. We let go of the need to dominate the conversation or impose our own opinions. Instead, we embrace empathy and compassion, fostering a deeper connection and mutual respect. Allowing space for individual growth. One of the most important aspects of letting go of control in relationships is allowing space for individual growth. Each person in a relationship is on their own unique journey of self-discovery and personal development. By relinquishing control, we create an environment that supports and encourages this growth. Instead of trying to mold our loved ones into our ideal image of who they should be, we allow them the freedom to explore their own passions, interests, and goals. We celebrate their achievements and support them through their challenges, without trying to dictate or control their choices. Embracing flexibility and adaptability. Letting go of control in relationships also requires us to embrace flexibility and adaptability. Life is constantly changing, and relationships are no exception. When we try to control every aspect of a relationship, we resist the natural ebb and flow of life, causing unnecessary stress and tension. By embracing flexibility, we allow for the organic evolution of our relationships. We understand that change is inevitable and that it can bring new opportunities for growth and connection. We adapt to the changing dynamics, letting go of rigid expectations and embracing the beauty of the present moment. Practicing self-awareness and self-reflection. Letting go of control in relationships also involves practicing self-awareness and self-reflection. It requires us to examine our own fears, insecurities, and patterns of control. By becoming aware of these tendencies, we can begin to release them and cultivate a healthier and more balanced approach to relationships. Self-reflection allows us to identify the underlying reasons for our need for control. It helps us uncover any unresolved issues or past traumas that may be driving our behavior. By addressing these underlying issues, we can heal and grow, allowing for more authentic and fulfilling relationships. Embracing unconditional love. Ultimately, letting go of control in relationships is about embracing unconditional love. Unconditional love is a love that is free from expectations, demands, and conditions. It is a love that accepts and embraces others for who they truly are, without trying to change or control them. When we let go of control and embrace unconditional love, we create a space for true intimacy and connection. We allow our loved ones to be their authentic selves, and we accept them fully, flaws and all. In this space of love and acceptance, relationships can thrive and flourish, bringing joy, fulfillment, and deep emotional connection. Letting go of control in relationships is a journey that requires patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to surrender. It is a process of releasing our own fears and insecurities and embracing trust, open communication, and unconditional love. By practicing detachment in our relationships, we can cultivate deeper connections, greater understanding, and a sense of peace and fulfillment. Nurturing healthy connections. In the journey of detachment, it is important to understand that detachment does not mean isolating ourselves from others or cutting off all connections. Instead, it is about cultivating healthy and balanced relationships that are free from attachment and dependency. Nurturing healthy connections allows us to experience the beauty of relationships without being consumed by them. Authentic communication. One of the key aspects of nurturing healthy connections is practicing authentic communication. This means expressing ourselves honestly and openly, while also being receptive to the thoughts and feelings of others. Authentic communication involves active listening, empathy, and non-judgment. By communicating authentically, we create a safe space for others to express themselves and foster deeper connections. Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is essential in maintaining healthy connections. Boundaries help us establish what is acceptable and what is not in our relationships. They allow us to protect our emotional well-being and prevent ourselves from being taken advantage of or becoming overly attached. Setting boundaries requires self-awareness and assertiveness. It is important to communicate our boundaries clearly and respectfully, while also respecting the boundaries of others. Cultivating empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion are vital in nurturing healthy connections. When we cultivate empathy, we are able to understand and share the feelings of others. This allows us to connect on a deeper level and offer support and understanding. Compassion, on the other hand, involves showing kindness and care towards others, even in difficult situations. By practicing empathy and compassion, we create an environment of love and understanding in our relationships. Practicing non-attachment. In nurturing healthy connections, it is important to practice non-attachment. Non-attachment means letting go of expectations and outcomes in our relationships. It involves accepting others as they are, without trying to change or control them. Non-attachment allows us to appreciate the present moment and the beauty of the connection itself, rather than being focused on what we can gain from it. By practicing non-attachment, we free ourselves from the burden of attachment and allow our relationships to flourish naturally. Cultivating trust. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Nurturing healthy connections involves cultivating trust through honesty, reliability, and consistency. Trust allows us to feel safe and secure in our relationships, knowing that we can rely on the other person. Building trust takes time and effort, but it is essential for creating deep and meaningful connections. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can enhance our relationships and nurture healthy connections. By expressing gratitude for the people in our lives and the experiences we share, we cultivate a sense of appreciation and love. Gratitude helps us focus on the positive aspects of our relationships and fosters a sense of connection and belonging. By regularly expressing gratitude, we strengthen our relationships and create a positive and nurturing environment. Balancing independence and interdependence. Nurturing healthy connections requires finding a balance between independence and interdependence. While it is important to maintain our individuality and not become overly dependent on others, it is also important to recognize the value of interdependence and the support that relationships can provide. Balancing independence and interdependence allows us to maintain our own sense of self while also fostering deep and meaningful connections with others. Cultivating forgiveness. Forgiveness is a crucial aspect of nurturing healthy connections. Holding on to grudges and resentments only creates barriers in our relationships. By cultivating forgiveness, we release ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment and create space for healing and growth. Forgiveness allows us to let go of past hurts and move forward with love and compassion. In conclusion, nurturing healthy connections is an integral part of the path of detachment. By practicing authentic communication, setting boundaries, cultivating empathy and compassion, practicing non-attachment, cultivating trust, practicing gratitude, balancing independence and interdependence, and cultivating forgiveness, we can create deep and meaningful connections that are free from attachment and dependency. These healthy connections enrich our lives and allow us to experience the beauty of relationships while remaining detached and free. Chapter 7: Detachment and Spirituality. Detachment in spiritual practices. Detachment is a concept that is deeply rooted in spiritual practices across various traditions and belief systems. It is seen as a fundamental aspect of spiritual growth and enlightenment. In this section, we will explore how detachment plays a crucial role in spiritual practices and how it can lead to a deeper connection with the divine. The essence of detachment. Detachment in spiritual practices refers to the ability to let go of attachments to the material world and the ego. It involves cultivating a sense of non-attachment to outcomes, desires, and external circumstances. By detaching ourselves from the transient and ever-changing nature of the physical world, we open ourselves up to a higher level of consciousness and spiritual awareness. Letting go of desires. One of the key aspects of detachment in spiritual practices is the ability to let go of desires. Desires often arise from the ego's need for validation, control, and pleasure. However, these desires can become obstacles on the path to spiritual growth. By detaching ourselves from these desires, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Detachment allows us to shift our focus from external desires to internal fulfillment. Instead of seeking happiness and fulfillment in material possessions or achievements, we learn to find contentment within ourselves. This shift in perspective enables us to experience a deeper sense of peace and joy. Surrendering to the divine. Detachment in spiritual practices also involves surrendering to a higher power or divine presence. It is the recognition that there is a greater force at work in the universe, and that we are not in complete control of our lives. By surrendering our ego-driven need for control, we open ourselves up to divine guidance and wisdom. Surrendering to the divine does not mean giving up our personal agency or responsibility. It means acknowledging that there are forces beyond our comprehension and trusting in the wisdom of the universe. This surrender allows us to let go of the need to constantly strive and struggle, and instead, embrace the flow of life. Cultivating presence and mindfulness. Detachment in spiritual practices is closely linked to the cultivation of presence and mindfulness. When we detach ourselves from the constant stream of thoughts and emotions, we are able to be fully present in the present moment. This presence allows us to experience life as it unfolds, without judgment or attachment. Mindfulness practices such as meditation, breath work, and contemplation are powerful tools for cultivating detachment. These practices help us develop a heightened sense of awareness and detachment from the fluctuations of the mind. Through regular practice, we become more attuned to the present moment and less entangled in the past or future. Embracing the oneness of all. Detachment in spiritual practices also involves recognizing the interconnectedness and oneness of all beings. It is the understanding that we are not separate from the world around us, but rather an integral part of it. This recognition fosters a sense of compassion, empathy, and love for all living beings. By detaching ourselves from the illusion of separateness, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of unity and interconnectedness. This shift in perspective allows us to see beyond the surface-level differences and divisions, and instead, embrace the underlying unity that binds us all. Detachment as a path to liberation. Detachment in spiritual practices is not about renouncing the world or withdrawing from society. It is about finding freedom within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. It is about releasing the attachments and identifications that keep us trapped in a cycle of suffering and dissatisfaction. By cultivating detachment, we free ourselves from the limitations of the ego and open ourselves up to a higher level of consciousness. Detachment becomes a path to liberation, where we can experience true peace, joy, and fulfillment. It is a journey of self-discovery and self-transcendence, leading us towards a deeper connection with the divine. In the next section, we will explore the concept of surrendering to a higher power and how it can enhance our spiritual journey. Surrendering to a higher power. Surrendering to a higher power is a fundamental aspect of detachment and spirituality. It involves acknowledging that there is a force greater than ourselves at work in the universe and relinquishing our need for control. By surrendering, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of trust, faith, and guidance. The concept of surrender. Surrendering to a higher power is not about giving up or being passive. It is about recognizing that there are certain things beyond our control and trusting that there is a greater plan at play. It requires us to let go of our ego-driven desires and attachments and surrender to the flow of life. Surrendering does not mean that we become helpless or powerless. On the contrary, it empowers us to release the burden of trying to control every aspect of our lives. It allows us to tap into a source of wisdom and guidance that is beyond our limited understanding. Trusting in the divine plan. When we surrender to a higher power, we trust in the divine plan. We understand that there is a purpose and meaning behind every experience, even if we cannot comprehend it in the present moment. This trust allows us to let go of resistance and embrace the lessons and growth that come with each situation. Trusting in the divine plan also means accepting that things may not always go according to our personal desires or expectations. It requires us to have faith that whatever unfolds is ultimately for our highest good, even if it may not seem that way at first. Letting go of control. Surrendering to a higher power involves letting go of our need for control. We often cling to the illusion that we have control over every aspect of our lives, but this belief only leads to frustration and disappointment. By surrendering, we acknowledge that there are forces at work that are beyond our comprehension and that trying to control everything is futile. Letting go of control does not mean that we become passive or indifferent. It means that we release our attachment to specific outcomes and trust that the universe will guide us in the right direction. It allows us to be open to new possibilities and opportunities that we may not have considered before. Cultivating surrender. Cultivating surrender is a practice that requires patience, faith, and self-reflection. Here are some ways to cultivate surrender in your life. Meditation and prayer. Engaging in regular meditation and prayer can help you connect with a higher power and cultivate a sense of surrender. These practices allow you to quiet the mind, let go of attachments, and open yourself up to divine guidance. Letting go of attachments, detaching from material possessions, relationships, and ego-driven desires is an essential part of surrender. By releasing attachments, you create space for new experiences and allow the universe to work its magic. Trusting your intuition. Learning to trust your intuition is a powerful way to surrender. When faced with a decision, take a moment to tune into your inner guidance and trust that it will lead you in the right direction. Practicing acceptance. Acceptance is a key aspect of surrender. Instead of resisting or fighting against what is, practice accepting the present moment as it is. This does not mean that you have to like or condone every situation, but rather that you acknowledge its existence and choose to respond with grace and openness. Surrendering daily challenges. In your daily life, practice surrendering small challenges and obstacles. Instead of trying to control every outcome, trust that the universe will provide the solutions and guidance you need. The benefits of surrender. Surrendering to a higher power brings numerous benefits to our lives. It allows us to experience a sense of peace, serenity, and freedom from the burdens of control and attachment. When we surrender, we open ourselves up to the flow of life and invite synchronicities and miracles into our experience. Surrendering also helps us cultivate a deeper connection with ourselves and others. It allows us to let go of judgment, comparison, and the need to prove ourselves. Instead, we can embrace our authentic selves and connect with others from a place of love and acceptance. Furthermore, surrendering to a higher power provides us with a sense of purpose and meaning. It helps us align with our true calling and live in accordance with our values and passions. By surrendering, we tap into a source of guidance and wisdom that can lead us towards a fulfilling and purposeful life. In conclusion, surrendering to a higher power is an integral part of detachment and spirituality. It involves letting go of control, trusting in the divine plan, and cultivating a sense of surrender in our daily lives. By surrendering, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of trust, faith, and guidance, and experience the numerous benefits that come with it. Finding meaning and purpose. In the journey of detachment, one of the most profound aspects is the search for meaning and purpose in life. Detachment allows us to step back from the distractions and attachments that often cloud our vision and prevent us from truly understanding our purpose. By letting go of the ego-driven desires and expectations, we create space for a deeper exploration of our true selves and the meaning of our existence. The quest for meaning. The search for meaning is a fundamental aspect of the human experience. We all yearn to understand our purpose in life and to find fulfillment in our actions. However, in a world filled with distractions and external influences, it can be challenging to uncover our true purpose. Detachment provides us with the clarity and focus needed to embark on this quest. When we detach from the material possessions and societal expectations that often dictate our lives, we open ourselves up to a deeper level of introspection. We begin to question the values and beliefs that have been imposed upon us and explore what truly resonates with our authentic selves. This process of self-discovery is essential in finding meaning and purpose. Aligning with core values. Detachment allows us to align our actions and choices with our core values. When we detach from external validation and societal pressures, we can tap into our inner wisdom and intuition. We become more attuned to what truly matters to us and what brings us a sense of fulfillment. By identifying our core values, we can make conscious decisions that align with our authentic selves. This alignment brings a deep sense of meaning and purpose to our lives. We no longer feel the need to chase after external achievements or conform to societal norms. Instead, we focus on living in alignment with our values, which brings a profound sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Serving others. Detachment also opens the door to serving others and making a positive impact in the world. When we detach from our own desires and ego-driven motivations, we can shift our focus towards the well-being of others. By cultivating compassion and empathy, we can find meaning and purpose in helping those in need. Serving others not only brings joy and fulfillment to our own lives, but also creates a ripple effect of positivity in the world. When we detach from the need for personal gain and focus on the greater good, we contribute to the well-being of society as a whole. This selfless act of service brings a deep sense of meaning and purpose to our lives. Embracing the journey. Finding meaning and purpose is not a destination, but rather a continuous journey. Detachment allows us to embrace this journey with open arms and a curious mind. We understand that our purpose may evolve and change as we grow and learn. Detachment teaches us to let go of rigid expectations and embrace the fluidity of life. As we detach from the need for external validation and societal definitions of success, we can explore different paths and experiences. We become open to new possibilities and opportunities that align with our evolving sense of purpose. This flexibility and openness bring a sense of adventure and excitement to our lives, making the journey of finding meaning and purpose all the more enriching. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is an essential aspect of finding meaning and purpose. When we detach from the constant desire for more and shift our focus to appreciating what we already have, we cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude allows us to recognize the beauty and abundance that surrounds us, even in the simplest of things. By practicing gratitude, we become more present and mindful of the present moment. We appreciate the small joys and blessings that often go unnoticed. This shift in perspective brings a profound sense of meaning and purpose to our lives. We no longer chase after external achievements, but instead find fulfillment in the present moment and the connections we have with others. Embracing the paradox. In the search for meaning and purpose, we often encounter paradoxes and contradictions. Detachment teaches us to embrace these paradoxes and find harmony within them. We understand that life is a delicate balance of joy and sorrow, success and failure, and attachment and detachment. By embracing the paradoxes of life, we find meaning and purpose in the journey itself. We learn to appreciate the highs and lows, the challenges and triumphs, and the imperfections and beauty that exist within us and the world around us. This acceptance of the paradoxes brings a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, allowing us to live a truly detached and purposeful life. In conclusion, finding meaning and purpose is a profound aspect of the path of detachment. By detaching from external distractions and aligning with our core values, serving others, embracing the journey, cultivating gratitude, and embracing the paradoxes of life, we can uncover a deep sense of meaning and purpose. Detachment allows us to live a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and in alignment with our true selves. Transcending the self. In the journey of detachment, one of the ultimate goals is to transcend the self. Transcending the self means moving beyond the limitations of our ego and connecting with a higher consciousness or spiritual realm. It is a state of being where we no longer identify solely with our individual self, but instead recognize our interconnectedness with all beings and the universe. The illusion of the self. To understand the concept of transcending the self, we must first recognize the illusion of the self. The ego, or the sense of individual identity, is a construct that we create based on our experiences, beliefs, and desires. It is the part of us that seeks validation, control, and security. However, this egoic self is not our true essence. It is merely a collection of thoughts, emotions, and conditioning that we have accumulated throughout our lives. When we identify solely with this egoic self, we become trapped in a limited perspective. We see ourselves as separate from others and the world around us. This separation leads to suffering, as we constantly strive to protect and enhance our individual self, often at the expense of others. Transcending the self means recognizing this illusion and moving beyond it. Letting go of the ego. To transcend the self, we must let go of our attachment to the ego. This does not mean denying or suppressing our individuality, but rather understanding that it is not the ultimate truth of who we are. We can start by observing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment or identification. By becoming aware of the egoic patterns and conditioning within us, we can begin to detach from them. Meditation and mindfulness practices are powerful tools for letting go of the ego. Through these practices, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. We develop a sense of spaciousness and presence that allows us to see beyond the limitations of the ego. As we cultivate this awareness, we can gradually loosen our identification with the ego and connect with a deeper sense of self. Connecting with the higher self. Transcending the self involves connecting with our higher self or spiritual essence. This higher self is the part of us that is beyond the ego, beyond the limitations of time and space. It is the source of wisdom, love, and inner peace. By cultivating a connection with our higher self, we can tap into a greater sense of purpose and meaning in life. There are various ways to connect with the higher self. Meditation, prayer, and contemplation are practices that can help us quiet the mind and open ourselves to the guidance and wisdom of our higher self. Engaging in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment can also help us align with our higher self. When we are in a state of flow, fully present and engaged in the present moment, we are more connected to our true essence. Embracing oneness and interconnectedness. As we transcend the self, we come to realize that we are not separate from the world around us. We are interconnected with all beings and the universe itself. This recognition of oneness is a profound shift in consciousness that brings about a deep sense of compassion, empathy, and love for all of creation. When we transcend the self, we no longer see others as separate from us. We recognize that their joys and sorrows are our own, and their well-being is intimately connected to ours. This shift in perspective allows us to act from a place of kindness, understanding, and service to others. We become more attuned to the needs of the collective and work towards the greater good. Living in alignment with the higher self. Transcending the self is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It requires a commitment to living in alignment with our higher self in every aspect of our lives. This means making choices that are guided by love, compassion, and integrity. It means letting go of the need for external validation and finding fulfillment from within. Living in alignment with the higher self also involves surrendering to the flow of life. Instead of trying to control or manipulate outcomes, we trust in the wisdom of the universe and allow things to unfold naturally. We embrace the present moment and find joy in the journey rather than being fixated on the destination. In conclusion, transcending the self is a profound spiritual journey that leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. By letting go of the ego and connecting with our higher self, we can experience a sense of oneness and interconnectedness with all of creation. This shift in consciousness brings about inner peace, compassion, and a greater sense of purpose in life. Embracing the path of detachment is a powerful way to transcend the self and live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Chapter 8: Living a Detached Life. Integrating detachment into daily life. Detachment is not just a concept or a philosophy, it is a way of life. It is about finding inner peace and freedom by letting go of attachments and desires. In this section, we will explore how to integrate detachment into our daily lives and experience the profound benefits it brings. Cultivating awareness. The first step in integrating detachment into daily life is cultivating awareness. This means becoming conscious of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. By observing ourselves without judgment, we can start to identify the attachments and desires that are driving our behavior. Through mindfulness practices such as meditation and self-reflection, we can develop a deeper understanding of our patterns and tendencies. This awareness allows us to recognize when we are becoming attached to certain outcomes or clinging to material possessions. Embracing impermanence. Another important aspect of integrating detachment into daily life is embracing the impermanence of all things. Everything in life is constantly changing, and nothing lasts forever. When we cling to things or people, we set ourselves up for suffering when they inevitably change or leave our lives. By accepting the impermanence of life, we can let go of attachments and live more fully in the present moment. We can appreciate the beauty and joy of each experience without getting caught up in the fear of losing it. This allows us to experience a deeper sense of peace and contentment. Practicing non-attachment. Practicing non-attachment means detaching ourselves from the outcomes of our actions. It means doing our best without being attached to the results. When we are attached to specific outcomes, we become attached to our ego's desires and expectations. By practicing non-attachment, we free ourselves from the burden of constantly seeking validation and approval. We can focus on the process rather than the outcome, and find joy in the journey itself. This allows us to be more present and engaged in our daily activities, without being consumed by the need for external validation. Letting go of judgment. Integrating detachment into daily life also involves letting go of judgment. When we judge ourselves or others, we create separation and division. Judgment is rooted in our ego's need to feel superior or inferior to others. By letting go of judgment, we cultivate compassion and understanding. We recognize that everyone is on their own unique journey and that we are all interconnected. This allows us to approach situations and relationships with an open heart and a non-judgmental attitude. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can help us integrate detachment into our daily lives. When we cultivate a sense of gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. This allows us to appreciate the present moment and find contentment in the simple things. By practicing gratitude, we become more aware of the abundance that surrounds us. We can let go of the constant need for more and instead find fulfillment in the present moment. This practice helps us detach from the never-ending cycle of desire and find peace in what is. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is a fundamental practice in integrating detachment into daily life. By being fully present in each moment, we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without getting caught up in them. This allows us to respond to situations with clarity and wisdom rather than reacting out of habit or attachment. Through mindfulness, we can cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and stillness. We become more aware of our inner world and can make conscious choices that align with our values and intentions. This practice helps us detach from the constant stream of thoughts and emotions and find a sense of calm amidst the chaos of life. Nurturing self-care. Integrating detachment into daily life also involves nurturing self-care. When we prioritize our physical, mental, and emotional well-being, we create a solid foundation for detachment to flourish. Taking care of ourselves allows us to be more resilient and better equipped to navigate the challenges that life presents. Self-care can take many forms, including regular exercise, healthy eating, getting enough rest, and engaging in activities that bring us joy and relaxation. By making self-care a priority, we cultivate a sense of self-worth and self-love, which supports our journey towards detachment. In conclusion, integrating detachment into daily life is a transformative process that requires conscious effort and practice. By cultivating awareness, letting go of control, embracing impermanence, practicing non-attachment, letting go of judgment, practicing gratitude, cultivating mindfulness, and nurturing self-care, we can experience the profound benefits of detachment in our daily lives. It is through this integration that we can find true inner peace, freedom, and fulfillment. Navigating challenges with detachment. Detachment is not just about living a peaceful and serene life when everything is going well. It is also about navigating the challenges and difficulties that life throws at us with a sense of detachment. In this section, we will explore how to apply the principles of detachment when faced with various challenges. Embracing imperfections. One of the biggest challenges we face in life is dealing with imperfections. Whether it is a personal failure, a setback in our career, or a strained relationship, it is important to approach these challenges with detachment. Instead of getting caught up in negative emotions or dwelling on what went wrong, we can choose to detach ourselves from the outcome and focus on the lessons and growth that can come from the experience. By embracing imperfections, we can learn to let go of the need for perfection and accept that life is full of ups and downs. Detachment allows us to see these challenges as opportunities for growth and transformation rather than as failures or obstacles. It helps us to maintain a sense of peace and equanimity even in the face of adversity. Cultivating resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. It is an essential quality to cultivate when navigating life's difficulties with detachment. By developing resilience, we can approach challenges with a sense of detachment, knowing that we have the inner strength and resources to overcome them. One way to cultivate resilience is by practicing self-care and self-compassion. Taking care of our physical, emotional, and mental well-being allows us to build the resilience needed to face challenges head-on. This includes getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, engaging in activities that bring us joy, and seeking support from loved ones or professionals when needed. Another important aspect of cultivating resilience is developing a growth mindset. Instead of viewing challenges as insurmountable obstacles, we can see them as opportunities for learning and personal development. By reframing our perspective, we can approach challenges with curiosity and a willingness to adapt and grow. Practicing acceptance. Acceptance is a key aspect of detachment when navigating challenges. It is about acknowledging and embracing reality as it is, without resistance or judgment. When faced with a difficult situation, instead of wishing it were different or dwelling on what could have been, we can practice acceptance. Acceptance does not mean that we passively resign ourselves to our circumstances. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation and taking appropriate action, while also recognizing that there are certain things beyond our control. By practicing acceptance, we can let go of resistance and find inner peace amidst the challenges. Finding meaning and purpose. Challenges often bring us face to face with questions of meaning and purpose. When we are confronted with difficulties, it is natural to question the purpose of our lives and the meaning behind our experiences. Detachment can help us navigate these existential questions by allowing us to detach from the need for external validation and find meaning from within. By cultivating detachment, we can shift our focus from external achievements and societal expectations to inner fulfillment and personal growth. We can explore our passions, values, and strengths to discover a sense of purpose that is aligned with our authentic selves. Detachment allows us to let go of the need for external validation and find fulfillment in living a life true to ourselves. In conclusion, navigating challenges with detachment is about embracing imperfections, cultivating resilience, letting go of control, practicing acceptance, and finding meaning and purpose. By applying the principles of detachment to our lives, we can approach challenges with a sense of peace, equanimity, and inner strength. Detachment allows us to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. Finding balance. In the pursuit of living a detached life, finding balance becomes essential. Detachment does not mean completely disconnecting from the world or becoming indifferent to everything around us. It is about finding a harmonious equilibrium between detachment and engagement. This balance allows us to navigate through life with grace and wisdom, without being overwhelmed by attachments or detached to the point of isolation. Balancing detachment and connection. Finding balance between detachment and connection is a delicate dance. On one hand, detachment teaches us to let go of attachments and desires that cause suffering. On the other hand, connection is an integral part of being human. We are social beings, and relationships and connections bring joy, love, and support into our lives. To find balance, it is important to cultivate a healthy detachment from outcomes and expectations while still engaging fully in relationships and activities. This means being present and fully engaged in the moment, without clinging to specific outcomes or becoming overly attached to people or situations. Cultivating self-care. Finding balance also involves taking care of ourselves. Self-care is not selfish, it is a necessary practice to maintain our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. When we neglect ourselves, we become imbalanced and unable to navigate life with detachment. Self-care can take many forms, such as setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness, engaging in activities that bring us joy, and prioritizing our physical health. By taking care of ourselves, we are better equipped to handle challenges and maintain a balanced perspective. Prioritizing time and energy. In our fast-paced world, it is easy to become overwhelmed and lose sight of balance. Prioritizing our time and energy is crucial to finding equilibrium. This means being mindful of how we allocate our resources and ensuring that we are not spreading ourselves too thin. By setting priorities and boundaries, we can focus our time and energy on what truly matters to us. This may involve saying no to certain commitments or activities that do not align with our values or goals. It is important to remember that we cannot do everything, and by prioritizing, we can create space for what truly brings us fulfillment and joy. Embracing flexibility. Finding balance also requires embracing flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and things do not always go according to plan. Detachment teaches us to let go of rigid expectations and embrace the flow of life. By being flexible and adaptable, we can navigate through challenges with ease and maintain a sense of balance. Flexibility also extends to our mindset. It involves being open to new perspectives, ideas, and experiences. When we are rigid in our thinking, we limit our growth and hinder our ability to find balance. Embracing flexibility allows us to embrace change and adapt to new circumstances, fostering a sense of balance and resilience. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in finding balance. By practicing mindfulness, we cultivate awareness of the present moment and develop a non-judgmental attitude towards our thoughts and emotions. This practice allows us to observe our attachments and desires without becoming entangled in them. Through mindfulness, we can recognize when we are becoming too attached or too detached and make conscious choices to find balance. It helps us stay grounded and present, enabling us to respond to life's challenges with clarity and equanimity. Seeking support. Finding balance is not always easy, and it can be helpful to seek support from others. Surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals who understand and support our journey towards detachment can provide encouragement and guidance. Support can come in various forms, such as joining a spiritual community, seeking therapy or counseling, or engaging in meaningful conversations with trusted friends or mentors. By sharing our experiences and learning from others, we can gain valuable insights and find the support we need to maintain balance in our lives. Embracing gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can help us find balance. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is present in our lives. It allows us to appreciate the beauty and abundance that surrounds us, fostering a sense of contentment and balance. By regularly practicing gratitude, we train our minds to focus on the positive aspects of life, even in the face of challenges. This practice helps us detach from the constant desire for more and cultivates a sense of fulfillment and balance in the present moment. Finding balance is an ongoing journey that requires self-reflection, self-care, and a commitment to living a detached life. By embracing balance, we can navigate through life's ups and downs with grace and wisdom, finding fulfillment and peace along the path of detachment. Embracing the path of detachment. Detachment is a powerful practice that can bring immense peace and freedom into our lives. It allows us to let go of the attachments and desires that often cause us suffering and prevent us from experiencing true happiness. Embracing the path of detachment requires a shift in our mindset and a commitment to living in alignment with our true selves. In this section, we will explore the various aspects of embracing the path of detachment and how it can transform our lives. Letting go of control. One of the fundamental aspects of embracing the path of detachment is letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. We often cling to the illusion of control, believing that if we can manipulate and manage everything around us, we will be safe and secure. However, this need for control only leads to anxiety, stress, and disappointment when things don't go according to plan. By embracing detachment, we learn to surrender to the flow of life and trust in the greater intelligence of the universe. We understand that we cannot control external circumstances or other people's actions, but we can control our own reactions and choices. This shift in perspective allows us to release the burden of control and find peace in accepting things as they are. Cultivating non-attachment. Another important aspect of embracing the path of detachment is cultivating non-attachment. Non-attachment is the ability to let go of our attachments to people, possessions, and outcomes. It is about recognizing that nothing in this world is permanent and that clinging to things only leads to suffering. When we cultivate non-attachment, we free ourselves from the constant craving and grasping that often dominates our lives. We learn to appreciate and enjoy the present moment without being attached to specific outcomes. This doesn't mean that we become indifferent or apathetic, but rather that we develop a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. Embracing impermanence. Embracing impermanence is a key aspect of the path of detachment. Impermanence is the nature of life itself, and when we resist or deny this truth, we create suffering for ourselves. Everything in this world is in a constant state of change, and by embracing this reality, we can find freedom and liberation. When we embrace impermanence, we let go of the need for things to stay the same or for life to be predictable. We understand that change is inevitable and that clinging to the past or the future only prevents us from fully experiencing the present moment. Embracing impermanence allows us to live with a sense of openness and curiosity, welcoming whatever arises with acceptance and grace. Living in alignment with our true selves. Embracing the path of detachment also means living in alignment with our true selves. It requires us to let go of the masks and roles that we often play in order to please others or fit into societal expectations. When we detach from the need for external validation and approval, we can connect with our authentic selves and live from a place of truth and integrity. Living in alignment with our true selves means honoring our values, passions, and desires. It means making choices that are in alignment with our deepest aspirations and listening to the wisdom of our hearts. When we live in this way, we experience a profound sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that we are living a life that is true to who we are. Finding freedom and liberation. Ultimately, embracing the path of detachment leads to freedom and liberation. When we let go of attachments, control, and the need for external validation, we free ourselves from the chains that bind us. We no longer rely on external circumstances or other people's opinions to determine our happiness and well-being. Instead, we find freedom within ourselves, knowing that our happiness is not dependent on anything outside of us. We become the masters of our own lives, navigating their ups and downs with grace and resilience. Embracing the path of detachment allows us to experience true freedom and liberation, enabling us to live a life of peace, joy, and fulfillment. In conclusion, embracing the path of detachment is a transformative journey that requires a shift in mindset and a commitment to living in alignment with our true selves. By letting go of control, cultivating non-attachment, embracing impermanence, living in alignment with our true selves, and finding freedom and liberation, we can experience the profound peace and joy that comes with detachment. Embracing the path of detachment is not always easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. It is a journey worth taking for anyone seeking a life of true happiness and fulfillment. As we conclude this transformative journey through the path of detachment, we invite you to reflect on the profound wisdom and insights gained along the way. Through the art of letting go, we have explored the depths of detachment and its transformative power in our lives. Remember, detachment is not about disconnecting from life, but rather about finding a deeper connection with ourselves, with others, and with the present moment. By releasing attachments and surrendering control, we open ourselves to the flow of life, embracing change, impermanence, and growth. We hope the practical strategies, mindfulness practices, and profound teachings shared in this audiobook have empowered you to embark on your own path of detachment. As you continue your journey, may you find peace, clarity, and authenticity in every step you take. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening exploration. May your path be filled with self-discovery, inner peace, and the joy of embracing your true self. Wishing you a life of fulfillment and serenity.